You're taking the place of
Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados here on the Thinking Critical Comic Book Podcast, the best comic book related panel discussion you're going to find on all the interwebs. We got a big show for you today. Obviously, the comic industry is still buzzing about the news. Marvel Comics has signed exclusive with Penguin Random House starting in October for comic book distribution, something that they have never really done before. We have a new power player in the comic book industry as far as distribution. I would say that Diamond's monopoly is fully dead and gone. We shall see what happens with Diamond in the future. But before we get into that conversation, I need to introduce the panel. First up, we've got from Comics Elite. How you doing, Drew?
I am doing well, Wes. I'm doing well. Pele, Joe, Uhl, Doc, good to see all you guys again. Yep. I'm doing great. We had a big night last night. Great to be here this morning.
Morning. Good to have you. Next up, we've got retailer a specialist. We've got the critical curmudgeon himself, Pele. How you doing?
Doing great. It's been a fantastic week. It's we back absolutely insane with this Diamond thing. Happy.
Absolutely. Next up, we've got another retailer on the show from Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. He's about to shoot on the entire comic book industry. Hugh Yule is in the house.
Yeah, I can't wait. This has been quite the week.
Yes, it certainly has. Now, if you've been following the channel, obviously Joe and I kind of broke the news here on the Thinking Critical podcast. Had a good conversation about everything. Now we've had a few days to think about it, marinate on what this all means. Mm-hmm. We have award-winning comic book editor, writer Joe Corallo. How you doing?
I'm all right, Wes. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad you could make it back. And finally, last but not least, and he might be doing a little bit more work here today because I am still having connectivity issues. We've got the co-host of the Comics Aficionados, Doc. How you doing?
I am spectacular, Wes. Thank you for having me. Morning, Drew, Pele, Joe, Yule.
Well,
let's go.
Morning to everybody. Let's get right into it. The big news. Marvel has signed an exclusive agreement with Penguin Random House starting in October. Remember when DC signed with Lunar and they brought in UCS, everyone crucified them. It feels like people are being a bit nicer this time around. Pele, why do you think that is?
I think because the initial shock of the first time, since it was the very first time, and it was like, oh my God, somebody's leaving the fold. And now it's like, oh, okay. Well, somebody else is leaving now. So the first time was going to be a shock to anybody's system. I guess the second time is going to be less. They've already gotten the habit of signing up with a new distributor, so maybe it just doesn't sting as bad the second time around.
Kind of like having a second kid.
Yeah.
It makes it all the crazy stuff that you had to do that you were terrified of the first time. It's a little less terrifying.
Yeah,
by the time you get to the third time.
Also, it's Marvel. So, it's going to be that's going to have a little bit of a difference in there, in my perception.
So, yeah. Drew, what are you guys at Comics Elite thinking about this? Were you surprised? Are you excited? Is this good news for you guys?
Talking with Sean about this the last few days. We're both ecstatic about this. We're both prior military as your U.S. and we love competition. Competition is terrific and it's healthy for us. And we just hope that Penguin and Random House, they're up to the task and they have the infrastructure for it. That's what we hope for.
Yeah, I think that's something that they will bring to the table well because they've already got thousands of bookstores that they sell to. So,
mm-hmm. So I do need to say thank you very much to Kenneth Allen for the super chat. Morning, guys. Wes, are you ready for a good time? AC/DC. My son is really he's getting into more than just the Thunderstruck song, so he's loving everything from AC/DC. We've been listening to that lately too.
Sweet.
So good morning to everybody, and thank you so much to Kenneth Dowling. Hope you all are ready for a very good time. So I got a lot of feedback. Well, let's get everyone's initial thoughts. Doc, you haven't really got to say anything. What were your initial thoughts when you heard this signing of Marvel going to Penguin Random House?
I like it because there's a potential, unlike say Lunar and UCS. There's a much, much bigger potential for getting comics into normie spaces, which is something that I've been a huge advocate for a long time. it's the only way to grow comics. Comics aren't going to grow in little, as great as the local comic shop is. You need your big heavy hitter companies available, like the big three, basically, in normie spaces to funnel new readers in. And that's when they come to the LCS. So I think it's good. Now, whether I hope it doesn't just stop at bookstores, or the independent bookstores that they already have. I hope Penguin is looking at finding a way to, look, I saw the video that you had with Perch, and I disagree that the possibility of like spinner racks and 7-Eleven are not really in the cards. I think that that's where it needs to go. Walmart is not the place for comics. Bookstores are kind of the place for comics, but they need to be separate from magazines. So I think that they at least have somebody with the industry cachet and the forward thinking kind of general business strategy to look for other things. But yeah, I think it is a good thing.
All right, Joe, you obviously reacted to this news pretty much as it happened here on the channel with me, with the hindsight of 48 hours to kind of mull this over. How are you feeling about it now? Are you more excited? Are there more questions than answers now?
No, I mean, there's definitely going to be more questions as we move along and get closer to seeing all this roll out. But yeah, I'm still excited. Penguin, it's a different. This is a different beast. It's on the one hand, yes, it is one monopoly being taken over by another monopoly. This monopoly seems to be a more competent monopoly. So hey, I mean, if that's what we got to deal with, I'll take the more competent one. It's good seeing Penguin right off the bat being like, if we're going to ship graphic novels and floppies and all that, we're going to ship the floppies in a separate box from the graphic novels, like things like that already off the bat. Okay, all right. They at least talk to a couple of people. That's good. So yeah, I'm still looking forward to seeing what they do.
Yeah, graphic novels. Try coffee mugs. Sticking coffee mugs in with floppies and display stands and
Just
statues.
roll them up, put them in the coffee cups.
Jesus God in heaven. Anyway, sorry.
No,
That's the truth about diamond packaging, right there. It's like,
fuck you in the packaging.
hey, you got this 1 in 1,000 comic book. Let me just put it on top of something else that's going to damage it.
Put it right on top of the blister pack for a old, retro statue or retro action figure.
Yeah,
That's
no
a
bag,
great
no
flat
board,
space
just
to have.
no bag, no board, just raw naked right there. Slap it on top of the coffee mugs.
Yeah.
So we do have. I misspelled this name. There it is. I fixed it. We do have a lot of comments, obviously, on the videos. I wanted to talk about a few of them. Some people had some good points. This is what Filgamesh had to say. Marvel and Penguin should start distributing cheap digest reprints. Get Marvel's backlist in front of a brand new customer base that never goes into a comic book store. Pele, as a comic book retailer, does this scare you that your product that you specialize in might be available in other places going forward? Because I know a lot of times retailers tend to overreact to the distributions.
No, I think that some retailers are probably going to be looking at it because they're, their primary, all they make their money from is comics. They aren't diversified. They don't have, a lot of faith in their retail and, as a retailer. So they're going to be really kind of cautious about this. But, I know because, people come to a comic book store to get comics and they're going to pick up their back issues while they're looking at new comics, and they're going to be, oh, there's a t-shirt. Oh, there's there's this, and that, it's going to be a different experience. You don't worry that, you're selling candy bars and the 7-Eleven sells candy bars, Walmart sells candy bars. It's going to be a universal product that's going to be in a lot of different spaces, and that can only help you in the long run because it helps saturate the market and gets it out there. So.
Plus, a digest is just a different format for the comic book. If you end up loving a story, let's say you get the digest with your, Infinity Gauntlet. Obviously, maybe you're familiar because of the movies. You get your digest, you're like, oh, this is a good story. You're going to want to go get the originals, like with the full-size art and everything. You don't want the little miniature version. If you truly love something, you're going to go out and get all the editions of it. So I think really, in the end, hopefully it drives more people in.
And it's a different consumer.
Yeah. Are you confident in that happening, Newell? If the word gets out that people are going to come and rediscover comic books in their shops again?
I hope that could happen. I mean, you kind of feel like it should have already if, Avengers making $1 billion and stuff like that, there's somebody out there that cares about it. But I don't know. I think that the onus is on us to try and, bring people back to the fold. As far as these digest size being in other stores, I don't really have a problem with that at all. What I do have a problem is when we as retailers can't get our hands on it also. So when DC was doing that Walmart exclusive, that's where I had a problem with it. If they were selling it and I was selling it, because what we found was if Walmart was close to a comic book store, it was comic stores that were going out and buying those books and then upcharging.
So did that.
The right people weren't getting their hands on it. So that's kind of a bummer. As far as Penguin and distributing, I think one of the reasons that comic retailers aren't having such a big deal, a problem with it, is because it's Penguin and not comic stores that are distributing the books like Lunar, comic stores.
Plus, a lot of comic shops have accounts with Penguin already.
Sure thing. Mm-hmm. If you're the kind of store that has multiple accounts with, for whatever reason, Ingram, that's a popular one. Mm-hmm. I get a lot of my trades that are out of print from Ingram. As soon as I find out they're out of print, I'm on. Let's get that book in. So hopefully we'll have a lot less out of print books and more reprints. We have that digest size Marvel comic coming out soon. I just put in an order for the Spider-Man one. I think Fantastic Four is next or something like that. So we're going to see a lot more of that too. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited about those because one of the things that we sell are the pocket. Remember the old pocket Spider-Man?
Got them right here. I got them in my house.
I've got, I'm sitting here looking at them. I've got
I'm too old to read them now.
And, and I collect those. And, and people love those little things just for travel, stuff like that. Give them to their kids. They're not really worried about those because it's not really the same as floppies and they're more durable. Yeah, I love those things. I can't wait to have more of them in the shop. So,
well, here, I got a question for everybody that's on the panel. Where was the place that you bought your first comic book? And was it a comic shop? Because mine was friggin' Woolworth spinner rack.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
My uncle ran a magazine distribution plant here in Indianapolis. I got mine for free. It was like a bunch of free damages. He would give them all to us for free. So,
you got the remainders.
Yes,
that's nice.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, mine was a comic shop because my dad was a comic collector. So, but I didn't get introduced into the comic shop until he knew I was mature enough to where I wouldn't grab stuff and damage it. So it was a very memorable experience when we went to the comic shop for the first time. It was like I was visiting a shrine.
But I guess my point here though is, you make a great point there though, Pele, because you got introduced to it outside of a comic shop, and then. What are you now? You're like like all of us, we're kind of like Wednesday warriors. I mean, granted, two of you guys own three of you are retailers. So
that's how hardcore collectors we are.
Exactly. But honestly, in a lot of ways, it's right. You start not in a comic shop and you either become a Wednesday warrior or a goddamn retailer.
Yeah. Yeah. My first one was at Kmart.
Kmart. Oh man, they would have the packages too.
Oh man, those were awesome.
I think I got like X-Men 119 that way or something like that in those areas.
There was a retailer named Roses that was nearby, and they did 20 packs of Marvel and DC comics for $1.50.
There's still Roses around,
And
there's one here.
and
Toys R Us used to do that too. I remember that. I got some comics back in the 90s from Toys R Us with the Molten Superman.
Yeah, definitely.
But I love the Roses ones because you'd get like all the way back to 12 cents. You get Silver Age to bronze, and this was like in 1982, 83. And I'm serious, you could get like Silver Age Fantastic Four with a Ghost Rider, with Champions, it's like, holy Jesus God, at the time they didn't care because they just, we got some of these, put them together.
Gotta get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. so like any retailer that doesn't like this because they think it's creating competition. No, guys, look, it's creating a feeder system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is essentially like they no store outside of your local comic shop, that place that you own, that you're proprietor of, is going to carry most of, if not all of, the new releases. There's no Walmart's not going to do that. Little bookstores aren't going to do that. Even Barnes and Noble isn't going to do that. None of the pharmacies or anywhere else, Target, that you'd be shoving these things into are going to carry all of that other product. So once people get into comics from, okay, they see an Iron Man and a Batman and a Spider-Man and Wonder Woman and Superman and the X-Men in a store. Okay, yeah, maybe it'll hurt your sales initially on those big titles. Mm-hmm. But all the new people after 6 months, I think it took me like a year. I was like 7 reading comics before I realized, hey, there's a specialty store for this. Holy crap, I can go and find other stuff that the Woolworth or the 7-Eleven or the pharmacy doesn't sell. Oh, wow. And that's when you convert those kind of non-readers into Wednesday warriors.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there were a few other comments. Now, this person is a little bit more cynical than Phil Ganush. Listen to me, 13 of the highest grossing films are comic movies. If movies with multi-billion-dollar box office don't make someone visit a comic book store, a Captain Marvel digest at Kroger's isn't going to get the job done. What do you think, Joe? Is that a little too cynical?
Huh? I think it's a little cynical in that we haven't seen that kind of synergy to really get a gauge of if that potential is there. It's funny how comics disappeared from grocery stores right before comics became these billion-dollar movie franchises. So it's tough to say. We do
know that Batman in 1989 drove a lot of people to comic book stores and sold a lot of Batman comics.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of those things too where we can have a whole discussion. We might end up later where they are dropping the ball over and over again on what's available to purchase. A few weeks or so ago, we were all talking about how when WandaVision was on, everything sold out on Amazon and places like that. People couldn't get their hands on material related to the show. And they are currently dropping the ball with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All the Mark Grunwald stuff, where you get the first Flag Smash and the first Power Broker in trades, it was out of print before the show started.
Yep.
Just constantly dropping the ball and leaving money on the table. So once that gets fixed, I think there is potential to make money, but they have to have it available to get the money.
You can say that like the movie industry and the comic book industry isn't together, and maybe you can understand that. But when House of X was coming out and it was hot, I don't think there was a Moira McTaggart, collection or anything like that. And it's like, wow, I want to know more about her. They did a $1 book, whatever Marvel's calling that. I can't remember right now.
True Believers.
Thank you. They did True Believers, but it's like I need to, you can do the whole Proteus story, just have it out there, and you get a little bit more of her. That was comic to comic, and they still didn't do it. So it's if they can't do it for the movie, or they can't do it for themselves, they're not going to do it for the movie or TV.
I think you realize though that they're expecting a lot, like those changes, those funneling is expecting non-readers to make this logical leap that might seem reasonable to us as longtime comic readers, but to non-readers it might not. So the idea is it's a step-by-step process. It's not just movie comes out, why aren't people walking into the comic store? It's movie comes out, they need to be able to easily access simple collections that are, okay, I like these characters, now do I like this other medium? You're asking them to make two choices. One is to walk into, to decide to try the medium and to go and find a comic shop instead of just having those things already readily available for them in the places they're already going.
So I do need to step in and say thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for supporting the channel. I ordered an Avengers trade through my comic book store, but the store said they had issues with Diamond shipping the books. I hope this move ends that problem, whatever helps the comic industry. Yule, is that a common story with you where you try to order something specifically for your customer and you just have problems getting it to them?
Sometimes it can, depending on how you order. There's this, this is nuts and bolts that nobody cares about, but there was a way to order quickly and a way to order slowly. And if you order slowly, the shipping's better for you. And Diamond changed that procedure, and they pretty much did away with the slow shipping. So a lot of people that are complaining about price, or if you don't realize it, is like, I was doing orders. I'm like, I want to get all this stuff. I'm going to put it on the slow boat, all that stuff. And it wasn't available anymore. And so if you don't do it that other style, you're not getting it at all. It's probably with one of their warehouses closing and all that other stuff, or branch. I'm not sure if it's exactly all that wrapped into one or why this is, or if this is the case, but Diamond has been screwing around ever since pandemic when it came to their shipping, and I'm sure a lot of people feel like it's been that way for a while anyway beforehand.
Yeah, nobody wants to pay $6 for a trade for shipping.
I mean, I'm biting the bullet on those sometimes.
You got to. I mean, and they don't offer an alternative. It's like, why can't you just send it with my regular order? Oh, because it's out from this blah distribution, blah blah blah. And it's okay, fine. You got to charge me $6 extra for a trade. You suck.
So now we're gonna have this. So we're gonna have Penguin Random House. I've already ordered from them because Lunar you get your DC books from Lunar, you get your DC graphic novels from Lunar, and then afterwards they're going to be, you order them after the fact from Penguin, the graphic novels and stuff like that. So I order from Penguin already. Let's say I needed to get Deceased because I sold out this week. I'm going to put the order in. I'm going to get it by the end of the week next week, and no shipping. Price. I only ordered a couple, and they're not going to rake me over the coals like Diamond will.
So thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for supporting the channel. We've also got JDC with the $5 super chat. Great news. What other product do you buy that's only available in a specialty store? Even Apple is available outside of an Apple store. Embrace it. That is a great point. Doc, you are a hardcore DIY guy, right?
Yes, I am.
You don't just have to go to Home Depot. If you just need to go quick, it's also available at Walmart.
Lowe's. Well, I don't shop at Walmart anymore. I just,
okay,
but that's just me being weird. That's just me being weird. But local hardware stores. There's
record shops.
Yeah, there's a faucet place. If I need specialty plumbing tools, or need to replace a faucet or something like that, rather than go into Home Depot or Lowe's. But no, I just go to wherever the hell has what I need. Yeah.
So you need to have this stuff available everywhere. That is a very good point. Joe, are you excited that you could finally get maybe in the pharmacy, maybe in the grocery store? Where else do you think that we could see comic books with Penguin Random House with all the distribution that they already have available?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I think first, like people were saying, you'll see it more like but you'll see it at those like bookstores and things like that first. But some of this is going to be where the placement. I mean, the Walmart stuff might have worked if it was impulse buys at the register and not hidden somewhere in like the specialty aisles. Like
that's
you can't see me right now. You can't see me right now, but I am pointing at the screen, screaming yes.
That's manager specific. I've got a relative that's a manager of a Walmart, and she's smart enough to have asked me what she should do with them. And I told her, over here by the registers, there's a whole aisle. Just put them on that aisle, and they sell. They sell like hell. And everybody else, every other Walmart I've went to, they put them in the corner of the Walmart and hide them in the closeout, next to the closeout crap. Yeah. It's like, okay, nobody will see that. So,
yeah. My friend's a dentist here in the Philippines. She's got like 8 different publications, and she's got one comic book encyclopedia. Everybody picks up the comic book encyclopedia because it's the most interesting thing available.
Yep.
People are drawn to it. But here's Jamie Anderson kind of taking a pee in our Wheaties right here. Oh. How depressing is this? Free Comic Book Day was often a depressing day at my local shop. You found out how many people were aware of the store's existence, but only came for the free comic books.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Free Comic Book Day should be everywhere except for comic book shops.
Yep.
Honestly.
Well, no, we don't do the we stopped doing that crap with the FCBD, exclusives, the FCBD exclusives. We carry maybe a few of them, but for the most part, I just give True Believers out now. You can get like 2 copies, 2 different True Believers, and you have a nice day. Because the people that want the exclusive Free Comic Book Day stuff, they just like descend on you like locusts and take advantage of you. So,
They definitely are.
Comic books should be like Reese's peanut butter cups. You can buy them fucking everywhere.
Well, they're not 75 cents or $1 anymore, Doc. That's the problem.
Well, that's the problem. They should be.
Well,
a lot of different retailers are able to sort of do what they want and make their own rules with the Free Comic Book Day stuff. So,
well, I think to addressing Doc's point, I think the digests are going to affect that, because if they get a $1.50, $2 digests and they put them on spinners, that'll effectively have the same result.
Yes, it doesn't even need to be new comics, as long as but they need to be sequential. Like, you need to release them on a periodic schedule. You can't just have only evergreen things there, or else people don't realize there's more. You need to train them to come back for something new every month, and then they'll realize, oh wait, I missed one. Damn. Yeah. Now I have to find a place to buy them, and that's when they start looking for the goddamn comic shop.
Yeah, there you go. So appreciate that. We do have something. Where is I saw it. This is for Yule. There's a birthday wish in here somewhere. Yes, it is from Kenneth Dowling. Oh. Happy birthday, Yule. You look good, sir. I second that.
Happy belated birthday.
Yes.
How old
what
are
did
you
you do
now?
for your birthday? Are you muted?
You're muted, Yule.
I'm muted. I was typing. I didn't want to hear the click.
Pulled a boomer.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm that old that I forget to turn the mute off.
He's losing.
I have actually. So the previous owner of the comic store I used to work at died at 50, and so every time someone dies, it's I'm like, oh, that's a nice marker. I'm gonna try and make it to that. So I finally made it past him. Yay! I'm still alive, still in a comic store, and I'm now 51.
There you go.
No way.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I was thinking like 35.
I know. It's a baby face.
So happy birthday, you. I was glad that we could talk comics here on the channel. So what do you think, Drew? Do you think if people weren't enticed to come in and discover the magic of comic books themselves by these multi-billion-dollar movies or these streaming shows that are basically on every platform. The comic book related materials are some of the hottest items. Do you think a digest that is pretty cheap, readily available, will be able to entice new readers?
It's possible. I mean, as long as they're in the right spots. Like traveling the country with Sean to the shows, we would always travel by truck, and I would always stop at a Love's gas station, and I would always notice that all the crap is at a Love's gas station, but there's no comics at all. And I'm like, why do they not have comics here when there's like literally hundreds of people stop at a Love's gas station every day? You could have these up here. This is a perfect spot for like Reader's Digest or True Believers, especially True Believers. You want to talk about a way to get new people in very subtly, not making big explosive moves. True Believer one shot is a great way to get someone in.
Yep.
It lets them see whether they like the medium.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we talked this one. We ready for another comment from the viewers?
Yeah, sure. Why not? We could talk this to death, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. This one's pretty good. This one's from Walter Howard. I think this is a signal that Marvel is going to focus more on the book market. This feels like something they are doing to make themselves better for the bookstore market. Pele, are you doing the cynical route that this means that Marvel is transitioning away from the direct market and floppies and has their eye on that lucrative book market where we're seeing more growth than the traditional comic store market?
Where's that little meme with the girl? Why not both? That's the way I see it. Do both. I want anything that will like keep Marvel afloat. Is good to me. As long as they can make money off of that too and supply the direct market. And, I'm great with that. That's absolutely awesome.
So we do have a super chat from Everett Todd. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm surprised Marvel never paid MCU actors signings, in shops. Do you think that would have brought people in? Probably, you're not going to get a Chris Evans probably or any of the big name guys, but I'm sure you could have got, Coulson or somebody like that in.
Coulson would.
Do you think that would bring the people in?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, for a day, it's kind of like Free Comic Book Day. I always felt things were kind of that also, You get someone in. Okay, go for it.
No, I can tell you how much Jeremy Renner cost for 4 hours.
Oh yeah, how much is that?
Because I looked into it. It's $25,000 for 4 hours, and it's still $5 a signature.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Whatever, and he has to have other appearances in your areas lined up too.
Sure. Can't waste my time.
Yeah, 4 hours, $25,000, $5 a pop, and of course you have to cater for him and stuff like that. Have his catering he wants and stuff like that, and
make sure there's no green M&Ms, there's M&M bowl.
Yeah, make sure there's a cute girl, they can just hand him his cell phone, and stuff. And
and all I had to do was when we got Warren Ellis in, this was not my store, the one I worked at. All we had to do is make sure he had some Red Bull and cigarettes.
There you go. And I'm sure he's more interesting to talk to. But I like Jeremy Renner. I like Renner. He's pretty cool, but he wasn't $25,000 cool. So
no, that's what I'm saying. You couldn't get the big actors, but maybe some of the supporting actors. I believe probably Maria Hill's probably even too big of an actress. I guess she was on How I Met Your Mother, right?
Well, you can get Kat Dennings and just make her wear a low cut dress.
I ain't making anybody do anything.
That's a good way to end up in court.
Yeah, I think that Midtown Comics in Manhattan has occasionally had some of the actors come in and sign stuff.
They had the guy that plays Vision, and they had him and Elizabeth Olsen in there 3 months ago doing signings. So,
I'm sure Golden Apple probably would have something like that. I remember they would have.
Yeah. They had Paul Bettany, man. I would have been all over that.
Yeah, awesome. I'd love to see how much they paid Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen to be there for an afternoon.
I bet it's worth it.
I know East Side Mags in New Jersey, I think New Brunswick, they had Patrick Wilson, but I think he was local or something.
So he's the Owl and he's Ocean Master.
Yeah, he was pretty fresh off Ocean Master when he made that appearance.
Ooh, that's a hot character to play.
Tell you what, he was great he was great as the owl though.
Oh, he was. Yeah. I enjoyed that movie quite a bit.
I think he's one of the most wooden actors in Hollywood.
But I don't think he has perfect for the owl.
Yeah.
Yes, but not for anything else.
I mean,
he's still doing a lot of work. He's still working.
If I could have anybody though, right now, as far aside from Robert Downey Jr., it would probably be Paul Rudd. If I could get any of them from the Avengers, anybody, do a signing, it would be Rudd. But
I would
need Keanu Reeves, man. That's who you need.
No, but he's not official MCU yet. So
I need Paul Rudd to sign my Super Nintendo.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way, I'm just going to interject to answer Lane Kramer here. It was Joe Casey and Dustin Gwynn that did Wildcats 3.0. You're welcome.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, let's get back. Let's get back on topic. Do you think it would be a smart move for Marvel to start eyeing the comic book market or the bookstore market as we've seen more growth there, or do you think they need to fix their problems in the direct market first before they can start expanding their horizons?
Is there a book market? That's really what I want to know.
Yeah, Amazon.
That's where all this.
I mean, all right, there's Amazon, but as far as outside your house, how far do you have to go to get to a bookstore? For most people, I actually think that the comic store might be able to become the new bookstore and a comic book store, because there's Barnes and Noble, there might be a mom and pop bookstore, and then there's half price books. And I really don't know of any other bookstores. It used to be you go to the mall.
There no Borders anymore?
Books a Million. The BAM Books a Million.
No, Borders is dead.
Borders is dead.
Anybody that buys in bulk, whatever those Ollies or whatever you're talking about out there, that ain't a bookstore. Okay.
We've got.
Sorry, I'm talking about a bookstore.
Are you bougie?
What was that? I used to work at a Borders. I used to go to bookstores. I remember bookstores that had sci-fi and fantasy only bookstores. I remember bookstores that would have like a magazine section over here. There'd be some comics over here. Walden.
All right. Walden Books.
All right. Good. I'm glad there's Walden Books out there still.
Even your
out here, there's no Walden Books.
Nerdy. What's wrong with you?
Pardon me?
Even your bookstore taste is nerdy. What's wrong with you?
I'm a book snob. You guys all might not know that. I grew up in bookstores, and they aren't around anymore. Not like they used to be. Malls aren't around like they used to be. Also,
now we do have a book warehouse that's not too far from us. It's huge. It's like half the size of a Walmart. So, that they carry new as well as older books and used books. So
you also still have every airport in the country has a half dozen the Hudson News that have books and food, and they got a lot of books, and they're all new books. They're all relatively new releases, and kind of the classic books. And they sell
do you
well.
have room for comic books when you have Lay's potato chips right next to whatever the new book is?
It's true.
I know I can sell a bag of Lay's.
So we do have a super chat from Atomic Hound. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Penguin Random House can't fix the Hellfire Gala. The content is important. So he does make a point here, Joe. We've already had corporate oversight for Marvel Comics as far as Disney, to whatever degree that is. Do you think Penguin Random House are going to want to have a say as far as some of the story content that's being put out, or do you think that they're going to have a voice in the room as far as the content that we're going to ultimately get?
I don't think they're going to have a say in the content, but they may have a say in Hickman deciding whenever he wants to have an X-Men book come out. They might be like, that's where they're going to be like, oh no, you put out an X-Men book every month.
Yeah,
right.
Like, you can't have an event yet.
They're going to be more sticklers in that front. So we're going to see if that affects how much that could mean Hickman's all back in, or that could mean I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to transition out and just slap a co-writer on my books for a bit until I walk away. So we'll see.
Yeah, but
it also
we assume that Diamond's going to go away, right? That means Image has to go somewhere. They're going to go to Lunar. They're going to go to Penguin Random House. If I'm Image, I want to go to Penguin Random House, right?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the other ones, Boom and the like, will probably go to Lunar.
Yeah,
this is like rats, man.
Yeah.
This is the rats on the ship.
It's going down.
the what they're really going to have control over is books that sell 5,000-7,000 copies not getting distributed anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how it used to be, right? I mean, you needed those small distributors so that you could get your turtles
Z
out or
list.
something like that.
And that's where Lunar will fit.
Yeah,
that's where
For
Lunar
sure.
will fit.
And wasn't
Diamond.
Scout the first company to move off of Diamond actually after DC?
Yeah.
I'm not personally. I don't really love Scout books, but that was shrewd. I mean, they saw the writing on the wall. They got out.
Yeah.
But
smart.
But I mean, even for companies like Marvel and DC, and if Image goes over to Penguin as well, you're going to see there, books like Squirrel Girl or whatever, Cable, the current Cable run, they're going to say no. These books don't sell enough. We're not distributing
Marvel
them.
just canceled Cable. It's already
Yeah,
done.
no, I understand that, but it would have never even gotten to that point because they would have looked at the first couple of issues and just said, "No, you're canceled."
Well, that's
at 6, not
depressing.
12."
Sometimes a comic book needs to find its legs.
But I'm just telling you, they'll be like, they'll see the first couple issues sale and be like, "Okay, no, you think you're canceled at 12? No, you're canceled at 6."
So, Joe, you're a writer. That's got to suck. It's not like The Walking Dead was an overnight success. It had to earn that success over time.
Sure. I mean, there might be elements of that happening. I think some of those stories, kind of like what DC's been doing with their YA OGN line, you might skip over this might escalate what was naturally going to happen, where you're not going to be doing floppies of some of these characters, and you're just going to do an OGN. So that's going to be interesting because they were counting on the money to help break even from the floppies, even if they were selling between 5,000-10,000 copies. That chips away at what they're paying the creators, so they can get in the black faster when they put the trade out. So that might be coming to an end, which it sounds like people will welcome. So
that could really affect but Image's business plan, right? Isn't that the whole thing? When you sign on with Image, you pay a fee and they distribute your comic books, but you make the money on the back end mostly with your sales of your trades, right?
Some
if you're
of
not
that,
a big creator.
Yeah, but some books, I believe, Motor Crush, that Sabella book that with the crowdfunding murder or whatever, I'm blanking on the title, but yeah, Crowded, yeah. Books like that were originally they did 1 through 5 or so, and then they started just putting out the trades because they weren't making enough money on the floppies. So
what comic book company is it? Scout that's doing that $1 or not $1? They're publishing the first issue, and then they're not going to have any more, and then there's going to be a trade that collects them.
I know that Away Blue World did that with Dead Legends, and there was another book they did that with. I think Scout may have also done that.
I think that's a recent thing.
I think Black Mask did that with 1 or 2 too.
Yeah, I know. Towards the end, towards the end of some stuff, they put out 3 issues or something like that, even if it was 4 or 5, and then they never finished it and did the trade, and then they ended up doing a special order of a very limited number of the last issue or 2 on some for the people that were really upset because they were I already got the first 3 issues. I'm not buying the trade. Just give me the last issue.
Yeah. But I think what this is going to end up doing is it's going to end up cutting off a lot of the bottom part of the market, at least for this distributor. This is where Diamond and Lunar are going to come in. Yeah, they're going to find their niche. They're going
specialty
to be
distributor.
Yes, they're going to be specialty distributors to only comic shops. The same way that they are regional, now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To answer the question in the comments, though, Black Mask, no, they have not gone out of business. The drummer from Bad Religion, just was tired of losing money, so they're only reprinting trades now.
Hey, every week I get to pretend to reorder White. Every week. Or not reorder, order it. It's always coming up on my FOC. Always.
I thought they had a Black Mask free comic book day for Black and Cal Exit. Like it was going to be a new series or
next week is I think that's the New York #1, which is reprints of stuff that was previously crowdfunded. But there's also another book, Alice in Leatherland, I think is coming out, which is Alice in Wonderland, but it takes place, I believe, in San Francisco. I'm not trying to be funny. This is what the book is.
That sounds like a doc special.
That sounds like a doc special, absolutely.
What the hell? Okay, fine. Maybe it is, but the art's going to be terrible, so it's...
Actually, a doc special would be Alice in Rubberland, not Alice in Leatherland.
But I think this has been a book that's been done for a bit, because I believe the artist announced that they're doing an image book coming up. So this has probably already been in the can and it's done. So they're just putting it out. So
like, check me.
We'll see.
So we do have a request from Lane Kramer. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Can someone help me find an Absolute Carnage omnibus?
It's apparently coming back in print, so just hold your horses. Do not spend over cover price to get it now. It's supposed to be back in print soon.
Last time I saw it on eBay, I think it was $350, $400 because it's just gotten to be ridiculously rare. So
check your previews book at your comic book store you go to, or if they give them away or buy it. You'll see.
I think he's hoping that you guys have a copy that maybe you can sell him.
I do not have one of those.
If I had one, it'd be $350 or $400 because I'd have to pay a fortune to get it.
Oh, and shipping's a pain also.
I think it'll be out again before the end of the year, because that's been one that's been talked about a lot. So
I can get your hopes up. I've been disappointed so many times with this Exo Mana War compendium that's supposed to have been released for the last 3 years.
You and about 7 of my customers.
I've had it. I don't even want to get into it. But thank you so much. I'm sorry, Lane. It does not appear that our retailers have a copy that they can sell you.
Sorry, man.
I'm so sorry.
But Joe has good news. It is likely to be in print again very soon, and hopefully that'll drive the numbers down.
Yep.
Or you can just get a fresh print. Good morning, Jamal Lewis. Glad to see you here. Do we have anything else to say about? Is this secretly DC or Marvel Comics moving towards the book market?
They've been trying to do this last 20 years. You know, it's nothing. It's not really new. I remember being in high school and they were in Borders, Barnes and Noble. And this is new. I mean, they're going to keep trying. Sorry, a pigeon just flew into our warehouse.
Pit.
I lost my train of thought there for a second. But it's not new.
Yeah, 20 years.
They're going to keep trying it, but I just don't think it's going to work to the level that they want it to ever.
So that could be what they want, but it might not work out for them. So here's the last comment that we got, and I thought this one was pretty interesting. This one made me think. I hadn't thought about this. This is from Andrew Taylor. We've talked about Disney seeking to license Marvel publishing out. Everyone assumed somebody like IDW or Boom would be involved. They missed the bigger players, Penguin, Random House, Scholastic, etc. This could be, is this the gateway drug, Yule, for Marvel to essentially license out some of their characters to Penguin, Random House?
Sure, why not? I guess. I haven't really thought about that.
We know that Penguin, Random House were negotiating with DC to create some original graphic novels with their characters. It's something that they're interested in.
Sure, why not? I mean, if they're in bed together, you might as well do it, right? I don't know. I guess I hadn't really thought about that. It's a good question.
As long as we
what
can
does
sell
Joe
them.
think as an editor? editor.
Award-winning
No.
editor.
Yeah, well, thank you. No, it's yeah.
I don't know, because the thing is like, do you really? How important are these things to you? Do you want other people to touch them? You know, do you want to have full control over this stuff? They allowed IDW to do it, but I mean, there's money involved. If you're doing it to placate the company you're you're in bed with, maybe that's the case. But I don't know about Disney. Disney is so weird.
They are weird. I know some people work on like the Star Wars books now and all that, and it's very like, I don't know, because there's also a precedent, like when Disney took over Star Wars, that they were just like, all the other stuff doesn't count.
That they did.
So they could very well just let people like, oh, we'll take the fees and do this, and you do all the Star Wars stuff you want, and then 3 years from now, they'll just be like, none of it's in canon, we're doing something new. And
Boy, they screwed up, though. Maybe they learned their lesson the first time, because that was a nightmare. That caused a fan backlash that they're still feeling. So,
But the secondary market's doing well on that, right? Pele?
Yeah, but all the Star Wars nerds get super duper excited whenever they bring one of those characters back into canon.
They
Yeah.
do.
Thrawn's back.
And
probably
that
there's
Dark
probably
Horse comic-
30% of the Star Wars canon they brought back from
Dash
Legends,
Rendar's
so.
back.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It's always
I don't
in
think-
the comic books and in the video games, right? Sorry, Yul. I didn't mean to.
No,
Bring
it
Star
was
Killer
useless.
back.
just have a Star Wars Crisis event to just reset the continuity. It's fine.
Ooh.
Oh,
Maybe that's what the War of Bounty Hunters is.
I that should be a separate stream. I have a theory on that.
I think it's bounty hunters going to war.
That
That
is
would be my guess.
a large scale cash grab on there. They have preludes to the actual crossover. I don't want to get into that again.
Preludes. I just had to finish up the order for that one.
Look, I
If you want to be really disillusioned about comic books, order comics for a year for your store.
That's why I don't do it. That's why I turned it
you
over to
don't?
my manager.
Good. If
I
you
said-
want
I
to
said,
not
I-
love comic books, like by the time you
You
get to
think variant
Backscar,
covers
let me
suck.
tell you.
No one
Sorry.
hates variant covers more than Yule.
That would be like 5-6 hours on Monday and Thursday, just gone forever. You know, it's like I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, what happens is you finish it, and then there's a new order immediately. And
Yep.
It's like, oh my god, I just finished this.
And you got to
one.
keep track of FOC, and you got to check. No more, no.
So this is exciting. Kenneth Dowling, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Speaking of absolute carnage, I just read Thor number 13 and King of Black number 4. I'm officially on the Donny Cates Express train. What took you so long? Eastbound and downloaded up and chucking Little Smokey and the Bandit for you. I can't believe it took him this long to get back on the Donny Cates hype train. So you need to go back and you need to read Thanos Wins. You probably need to go get that Cosmic Ghost Rider. Yule, what else does he need to read?
Silver
Cosmic
Surfer
Ghost
Black.
Rider's okay. Obviously, he did a lot of Venom up until now.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer Black.
Silver Surfer Black, and it's got
like
Tradmore artwork.
More. Yeah.
So terrible.
You get the
I
treasury
hate
edition of that. It's
Trad-
awesome.
If you
hate
can.
Trad
It
more.
fits that one story.
Really
I don't like
his
hippies,
art.
Pele. It doesn't matter.
I know you don't like hippies, but that's just it. Silver Surfer has a tradition of unconventional artists coming in and doing short miniseries.
I like
And
Ron Lamb.
the Mobius,
Well-
like the Mobius series, is just like drop dead gorgeous.
Mhm.
So
At the end of Silver Surfer, we were lucky enough to have John J. Muth do illustration on that book.
yeah.
That is so much higher than the Silver Surfer will ever be as a character. And Ron Garney, he was doing he did this thing where like the Silver Surfer was like melding into the board, and he was kind of like hanging 10 when he was
yeah.
so good. Good Garney too.
Yeah.
I saw
Right,
that.
Joe.
I saw that original print. I saw that original art for sale.
Oh, nice.
Joe, if he's just now getting on the Donny Cates bandwagon, is there anything else that he needs to go and check out?
I mean,
That he
that's
missed out on?
Paybacks.
Those are
Yeah,
the
paybacks.
big
Yeah.
thing. Well, there's the paybacks, but
Or
there was
Atomic Hawk.
there was the one I really liked.
Is it Baby Teeth?
No, it was there was a Dark Horse book about an alcohol, like a superhero who's an alcoholic, but
Buzzkill.
he was Buzzkill. Yeah,
It's
I
a
really
payback crossover kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, I liked Buzzkill. It was fun. That's a good one. I think to check out. And then, geez,
you can skip Guardians of the Galaxy. It starts out okay, but it kind of just fizzles off, and he leaves after 12 issues.
Guardians is okay if you just like a big old like car crash. I think.
Yeah, it started out more interesting, and you can see that he had other projects he had to go on to, but. Yeah,
there was one image series about the one with the big sword. I forget what it was about. The old man.
God Country.
Yeah.
God Country. Oh
yes,
my
God Country. Yes.
I like the vampire one also. Those the hillbilly vampires that
what was
own
oh, Baby
Redneck.
Cates is another good one he did.
Redneck.
Yeah, Redneck. Oh yeah, Redneck.
So Kenneth, you got a lot of work to do if you just now got on the Donny Cates.
There's good Donny Cates.
Yeah, a lot.
Not everything's great.
If he wasn't if he just wasn't such a dick on social media, he would be the
he's
perfect
kind of
creator.
douchey, but whatever.
Hey.
You know.
He's blocked me 6 times. 6 times. I have to talk to his
on social
assistant.
media, Pele.
Look at that. Look at his hair and how he dresses. You know he's a douchebag.
It's like his assistant. I talked to his assistant. Like, did he block you again? Yes, I'll unblock you. I'll unblock you.
Look,
At least he
10
can let
years,
you talk to
he'll
his
be cooler.
assistant. What are you talking about?
No, I had to go around and talk to. I was like, I want to find out what the hell's going on. Unblock me, please. And she did. So.
Perhaps you should be less mean in the future. He won't block you. But
I didn't.
That's a
I was
story for
not
another time,
mean.
Pele.
I was not.
I was not mean. I was
All right,
just
I'll
telling
tell you
where
this.
he could stick it.
Every person I've seen block Doc was in the right.
Probably.
Doc's different.
I'm an asshole. There's a difference. I am a massive fucking asshole.
Good promotion for the show too, Wes.
Absolutely. And Doc, I do want to say thank you so much for the super chat after I just busted your nuggets and may have criticized you a little bit. Smash that like button. The doctor ordered it.
Make love to that like button. Make love.
That is my prescription for all of you.
You threw a little sultry bass in there, Pele. Threw me through a loop. But definitely smash that like button, and thank you so much for supporting the channel, Doc. Not only in person, but with a nice super chat.
Yeah. Somebody is very
is there an
angry
argument?
somewhere.
No, we're trying to get the pigeon out of our warehouse. It's not I was like,
awesome.
please, God, don't tell me they can hear this right now.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me, you ever see that movie, The Great Outdoors, when they had the bat?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's like
You're gonna start hearing shit getting knocked down, stuff getting smashed.
Oh,
somebody's
God.
gonna walk by and they got like a trash can on their head.
Star Trek Enterprise episode where the bat gets loose in the infirmary.
The bat is going to come flying over Drew's head right into the TV.
It buzzed me.
Name him Bruce.
Whoa.
You need to make him a pet and name him Bruce.
It's a pigeon, dude, not a bat.
I think
he's
this
talking
is
about
a wrong
getting a bat.
I know
here
that.
from-
I'm just kidding.
From Evil Black Cat. He says that Donny Cates is discount Sean Gordon Murphy. And I would say, I don't even know if he's discount, but if he's similar to anybody in the industry, it's Scott Snyder. In my opinion. They have a very similar style.
I haven't seen him
big or go
draw.
home.
Yeah, as an artist, Donny Cates is certainly discounted.
If you take Scott Snyder
Murphy.
and oh God, what's his name? Claremont
Al Ewing.
and Claremont and mash them together, you have Cates.
That sounds like a wonderful connection there. So,
But not all of Claremont's really good qualities though. Just
like
like
his
Claremont
Extreme
without
X-Men.
Weezy as his overlord.
right.
Okay, I gotcha. Doc's about to get mad.
Yeah, I mean,
No. Chris needs Wheezy to.
Yeah, he does.
Wheezy or Annie Nesenti to like rein him in.
sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he always did. When he gets left to his own devices without either of those,
He gets in the weeds.
You do. You get Extreme X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lane has a super chat. We're going to get into this more heavily here in a second. But he says, I am jumping the gun here. I was going to drop the Joker due to the $6 price jump. I've been debating this since I loved issue 1, but the bump is coming. Pele, are you seeing people contemplating dropping Joker because of the price increase?
I'm seeing them contemplate it, dropping everything because of the price increase. Batman, Joker, anything that's going up above $5, they're saying nope, that's it. Line's drawn at $4.99. So, and I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. That's a bitter pill to swallow when you're on a budget. And the people that don't have budgets, they don't give a shit. But the people that do, you're pricing them out of the market.
There is no 22 or even 32 page comic book on a monthly basis that is worth $6. It does not exist, and it cannot exist.
Unless you're talking
literally
about like
impossible.
painted artwork with like the best storytelling known to man, it would barely be worth $6. So,
Are you seeing customers holding the line at $4.99?
Not yet. I've only had a few people ask me about it. For the most part, I actually think I don't see people so there's your DC fan, your Marvel fan. There's the people that cross over and get all the other stuff also. But if you're only buying DC, yeah, $6 is a lot, but there are so few titles that are coming out really that I think I got a tenner. I'm only picking up Joker or Batman. Hopefully Batman and Joker will not come out on the same week.
Well, they've kind of backed off on the Batman price. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Here in a few minutes.
But
Joker
so
is-
if it's $6 and I got a $10 bill or a debit card or my phone or my watch so I can tap it, I don't think it's really gonna connect at first, and we'll see how long DC actually keeps that going.
what they could have done, and I thought that what they were going to do was have the regular issue at $4.99 and have the cardstock issue at $5.99, and that would have been okay. That's excessive here, but to just jump the regular issue up to $5.99 is just pricing people out. I mean, we've got poor people here. This is Appalachia. It's probably different out there on the bay, but where people pay like $2,500 a month for rent for a studio apartment, but
it's true.
It's people around here, they have a duplex that they pay $250 a month for. So, asking them to spend $6 on a monthly comic is
it's a lot. I mean, you should.
So I do want to say thank you very much, Lane. We are going to get to this
Lane.
in more depth once we get over this Marvel stuff. We do have another super chat from Dark Admiral March here. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we are going to definitely get into that more. Any thoughts on Marvel putting out the Marvel Select hardcovers and Marvel Masterworks? I picked up the Infinity Gauntlet, Kraven's Last Hunt selects. Doc, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think this is something that a smart company like Penguin Random House are going to be like, listen, let's get all this stuff back in?
Yes. These things should not go out of print. When they have just evergreen old stories, you should not take them out of print. Jesus fucking Christ. This is the point of having a collected division.
the Marvel Masterworks is a one-time limited print.
Yeah, I understand.
Now that's one thing, but the other stuff should not. The things that aren't limited collector's editions should not go out of print. You're right.
Yes.
It should not.
Yeah.
This is the point of your entire collections department. Jesus Christ, people.
Yeah.
This is like deciding, hey, you know what? There's some limited edition Bibles out there. It's the fucking... keep it in print.
No, but absolutely, I totally get it. Masterworks, the hardcover editions, yes, those are limited runs, and they use those to make a lot of the omnibuses and all that too. Even omnibuses, I get it. You're doing an oversized big hardcover, but these like trade paperbacks, there's no excuse to have there are long stretches of time where the Death of Gwen Stacy is out of print.
Yeah,
that's a joke. What are you doing?
Yeah, there's no reason for it. That just shows that that department doesn't know what the hell they're doing right now. So.
Especially those stories or moments that have been adapted into TV, films. Those stories should never be out of print, ever. There's no
and they don't make collections or reprint them to sell, like we were saying before, along with these shows. I mean, how hard would it have been to do a Monica Rambeau's greatest hits, slap it together, put it on Amazon, and get it in bookstores, have shops be able to order it while WandaVision's going on?
I do want to make one connection with that comment that was made earlier about the not selling. The movies didn't help, and the TV shows aren't helping sell the new comics. They did help sell the old comics, though. Oh my God, we sold out of anything related to WandaVision as far as back issues and collector keys. We sold right now. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't have a back issue of the Falcon anywhere. So same thing with anything with old Bucky. It's just they're gone. They flew out the door. So that in that area it did. But Marvel, Marvel's Marvel. They don't prepare for shit like that. They don't prepare to have new products ready for anything.
Yeah.
So
when Falcon and Winter Soldier premiered, they should have already had the 80s Falcon miniseries collected in trade and ready with new printing. The mid 2000s Captain America and Falcon series ready and to go and reprinting. The World War II era Captain America and Bucky adventures with the from like the Golden Age, those ready to go, and the Brubaker introduction of Winter Soldier, and then the Bucky Cap. All of those should have been already. You should have had about half a dozen different collections ready to go and launch a week before the series premiere.
Absolutely,
this isn't hard. This is like. There's a reason why I say that the marketing and sales people that work in comics are the D-list students of their marketing schools, because if they were all competent. I mean, not even like reasonably good. I mean, at all competent, as in we are all more competent at this than they are.
Sure.
They would be working in some field that pays better than comics.
They'd be selling footlongs. They'd be selling $5 footlongs if it wasn't for the comics industry.
And other reprint things like for example, Rick Remender, the omnibus of his Cap run is coming out in July. That's the one where we get Cap Falcon, but they did the reprint omnibus this month of Jack Kirby's run in the 70s, and it's like that has nothing to do with this. Why didn't that come out in July and this one come out with Falcon Winter Soldier? It's just stuff like that where you're like, what are you doing? Like,
if they were smart, they would be prepping Moon Knight material, getting all that ready to go, and getting a Blade stuff ready to go, getting all that stuff ready for the movie.
They do,
but no, probably not.
I spent 6 months. I spent 6 months collecting up Moon Knight. As soon as I got whiff of it, I was spending 6 months getting Moon Knight back issues from the 80s and 90s series and the double aughts, and going back and trying to get anything from the Werewolf by Night stuff, his first appearance, and trying to collect all that together. That's what a good comic shop owner does, and if I can do it, sure as hell Marvel can.
I've been going to Half Price Books, finding whatever I can. Like they have their dollar comics, 50-cent comics.
Yeah.
All the Moon Knights, $4 and above.
But
they know.
But this
Even
is
Half Price knows.
They did break in. We do have a super chat from Kenneth Dowling. He wanted to talk to Joe. Apologies for getting off topic. I've been meaning to compliment Joe. I read a few issues of Batman City of Crime. If the writers of The Wire wrote Batman, you would get this story intriguing.
yeah, it's a fun. And fun's the wrong word. It's dark, but it's a great story that kind of just fell out of public view, that got ignored, and then Paul Dini took over detective not long after it, and we all kind of forgot about it. But it's a really good, gritty Batman story. I wish more people would check it out.
Do you think the writers of The Wire could do Batman City of Bruce?
I hope so. I really do.
How dark does City of Bruce need to be? That's a good question. Thank you so much, Kenneth Dowling. And that's going to go on the list. I haven't read that one. We do have really another super chat from You Murdered That Guy up in Canada. Can we get a pigeon update, Drew? What's going on?
Hold on 1 second. Is the pigeon gone? No, he's not. He's still here.
The pigeon is still in the house.
He's still lurking.
Wow.
Okay, thank you so much. You murdered that guy. For
He's going to start pooping on your stuff. I just want you to know that.
We got a pigeon loose in the warehouse. All right. So does anyone else have anything to say, about the Marvel signing exclusive agreement with Penguin Random House before we move on to some of these other topics?
Oh, I mean, we could probably do another like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Just on
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
but,
So,
Yeah,
The
let's
final
go.
words, Doc. Do you have one thought that's left?
It can only improve things.
Yeah. It's a real shakeup, which is what the industry needs. A shakeup that's similar to a pigeon just showing up in your warehouse.
Yes.
There you
That's what everybody needs. That's the market disruptor you need. It's like a pigeon in your warehouse. Very cool.
Hopefully it only shits on things that nobody wants.
I don't think it
the
can be
new
worse
issue
than
of Flash
Diamond.
is coming out next week. Hopefully, it's just aims at that. Sorry, spoiler alert.
No, it's oh god. Well, they hate Wally so much.
They hate Wally. They're
All
going to
right,
address
well, let's
it right
talk
here.
about Wally. That's the next topic. We got Wally West retiring. So we've heard this rumor that Wally West was going to retire to go and live with his family, but in Dark Knight's Death Metal, he was essentially introduced to the new DC Illuminati that are behind the moon, that are monitoring all the multiverse and have discovered the Elseworld and the Omega, Earth Omega or whatever, and they were doing all this stuff behind the scenes. Wally was just recently reintroduced as the Flash in Infinite Frontier number 0 as Barry Allen joins Justice Incarnate. Joe, we talked about saving Wally West. They tended to go your route, but he's just retiring.
Here's I have multiple thoughts on this because this is really stupid and I hate it. One of those thoughts is he's got super speed. He can spend all the time with his family he wants. Why do they come out? Oh, I got to retire and spend time with my family. No, Batman probably should. He's a mortal man who can only go so fast. Wally is super speedster. He can travel around the world, fight crime, and be back in plenty of time. That is such a stupid excuse. I hate it. Also, he's going to race Barry to see who's the fastest again. Does this mean that in Wonder Woman we're going to get another contest? And then maybe after that, we'll have Superman find out there's a new reason why Krypton got destroyed. Why don't we just rehash every single thing that's been done 1,000,000 times while we're at it? That sounds great.
Keep going, Joe. I don't want to stop you.
Well, I hope someone draws the Waynes getting murdered again, too, while we're at it. Let's just do it all again.
Well,
Forget it. Fuck
yeah,
it.
exactly.
Do it.
The only change is whether or not he saw Zorro that day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, now it's so much time has passed. He's probably seen the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie when that came out.
All right.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Encino Man. That'd be even better.
the Waynes are out seeing Encino.
Blast
Man.
from the past.
They took him to see Biodome, and
Any
they had to
Pauly
take him
Shore
out.
movie.
Oh, Biodome, yeah, definitely.
Any Pauly Shore movie.
Maybe you would do a previous Michael Keaton movie.
There you
maybe
go.
do something like that.
They went to see Batman '89.
That's the one I was thinking. Yes.
All right, so Drew, what are your thoughts on Wally West retiring? Is this the best thing for the character, and what do you think the reasons are? Because we know Barry Allen is in Justice Incarnate. He's off of Earth. There's going to need to be a new speedster, right, Drew?
I read this twice just to try to make sense of it, and there are so many logic flaws and jumps in this that it does not make sense. And what they get into, how the Speed Force works and how it breaks, I'm still trying to figure that out. Doesn't really make sense to me. I'm trying not to spoil too much about this, but I just feel dumber after reading it. And like this, there's no way they're going with this story. And the dialogue is atrocious, but the art is good on the inside.
So you say no way, but you've seen the comic book.
Yeah. Yes, I have. Yeah, it's just he shouldn't be retired. He shouldn't be. I mean, I think about the previous Flashes, like the older ones, like Johnny Quick, Max Mercury. They were retired, but had their speed. They didn't have to use it. They were there just in case. And it's like, why not have it? Just in case some shenanigans are to come up in the future. You know, why do you have to get rid of it? You don't have to.
Yeah.
So, what's up, Doc?
No, I mean, you make it. Drew makes a perfect point. There's no reason to lose your power just to retire.
Well, we know he's not going to lose his power because eventually he's the only speedster with his power, and then he gets overtaken and becomes a mass murderer in future. We see it.
Which does come. It's like, I try not to get into too much of this. That Heroes in Crisis stuff comes up is just like, oh my god, just move on, please.
Didn't they just do Flash Forward like 2 years ago to fix all the fucked up shit that they did as a result of Heroes in Crisis?
They undid that.
Do it again?
But also, I think something really important here, you know, when we're talking about how we handle these things, representation, there are very few female mass murderers, and they never get representation, and it's another guy who is a serial killer here.
Another white male.
When's Lois Lane going to be a serial killer?
Jesse Quick has got serial killer written all over it.
Naomi. Yep. Naomi is definitely going to turn into a serial killer.
We do have one serial killer. Does Captain Marvel killed all the Avengers at this point?
Yeah.
Well, that's the Marvel universe, and we all know they're more progressive. I'm talking about DC.
Well, I mean, Harley's a killer. Harley's a serial killer.
Yeah, but that's fair.
She's more heroic than Flash right now.
Yeah. She's actually perceived in a more positive light than Wally West at this point.
You know what though? I will say, if this gives us an excuse to get another Scott Lobdell, Brett Booth Flash miniseries, I'll take it, so that they can fix whatever they're about to fuck up.
So I do think this is to make way for a new Flash. We do have Barry Allen and Justice Scarlet. There's going to be a need for a speedster on Earth. We had 2 new Flashes introduced in Future State. We had Bolt. She appears to be part of the Suicide Squad universe, so the other character that would be available is Jess Chambers. And we do know that character is a part of the Justice League in the future. Yule, what are the chances that this is to make way for one of these new speedsters to kind of take over as the main Flash while Barry Allen's away?
Who cares?
Who's the most diverse of them?
No,
who's the one that's the most diverse?
The Blades, right?
Blades, yeah.
Well, I mean, Bolt is handicapped, a female, and I believe a person.
It's got all the check marks, is what you're saying.
Well,
I don't know. I like the.
Is
I like all those other
though,
Force characters.
and from the future.
I think you've got to go with the one that has the most diversity. Yeah.
But there you go.
I'd rather just see Impulse, really. If it's got to be somebody, I guess it'd be Impulse.
I do too. I've got a lot of those first parts.
Maybe they'll, maybe Max Mercury or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I love Max. Max was always my Flash. I'll always love Max's out.
All right.
Just create more speedsters.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many of them. Who cares who's going to step in? You've what? Barry's not going to be around, and Wally's Wally's
tired.
And now there's all this.
If Iris or Jai decided to say, "Screw it, I'm going to take my dad's place and be."
Who's the one that does the formula to make to get fast?
Johnny Quick.
Is that what? Okay.
Yeah, 3 times 2 equals NYZ4A.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's I would somebody established. If you got to go a different character, diverse, she'd be the one, I guess, is who I'd choose. Really.
You know what we need about as much as we need more Flashes, more Spider people, more Bat people. Maybe a few
there
more
should
Hulks.
just be like this,
more
like
Human Lanterns is what we need.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
dilute the
one.
brands. Yeah.
They could really have a really good battle royale between all these family characters. It would be Silk and Spider-Woman, like you were saying, and
we need to Highlander the fuck out of all of these brands.
I think a family warfare event would be awesome, where you just had all the families in like street gang like fights.
And they're only one left.
Yeah.
So it's just the Warriors.
Yes. But the street gangs are family of comics heroes.
All right, I'm down.
That sounds like an event.
It definitely sounds like an event.
We do have a super chat from Lane Kramer. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.
Family
hey, for
Feud.
anyone who read Last 52, Lois meets Lois Lane Prime in her Superboy Prime armor. She killed Superman, stored his powers, cut his head off, and led a metahuman murder crusade. Is that true?
I don't know that to be true.
I've never read
I
that.
like it. I like it if it
fine
is.
with that. Yeah.
The last 52. I always call it the old 52 or the new 52. I don't know.
She
It
cut off
lanes over my
Superman's
head on
head?
this one.
Like Medusa and like just holding it up? Pretty rough.
Was that the last issue of the series, 52, from like 15 years ago? I don't know.
It's been a while since I read 52, but
Yeah.
I liked it at the time.
Well, I remember. I read the
That's
Superman
some Mark
stuff.
Miller shit. Who wrote that?
It was
Like,
apparently
for
it was
one-
during Death Metal.
Oh,
There was one called Last 52.
Oh, the Dark Knight's
Oh,
Death
damn!
Metal.
I didn't read that one.
I didn't either.
Apparently, everybody needs
checked
to
out
go
by
read
that
that
point.
one now.
I guess
because that
so.
sounds fucking metal as shit.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I wish DC was better at marketing this stuff because
Well,
I'll whittle it
those,
down.
I mean, Jesus. All right, so Death Metal did really well, but like a lot of stores, there were a few of the one-shots that did really well, and then the rest didn't do so well.
yeah,
And by the time that book came out, and along with the multiverse book and all that other stuff, it didn't tie in directly to Death Metal, so it didn't feel like it needed to be read. There was the one storyline that was like over 3 issues, and that felt like you needed to read it a little bit more. I think it had like a speed metal and a few
That was a
others.
skip month where you had those 3 issues of the
Right,
Green
those-
Lantern.
Those
Trinity
filled
and
in better, yeah.
Speedsters.
So the side stories felt like side stories, though, and
yeah.
I got to admit, I didn't read that.
I think we're all going to go
Sweet.
check it out, though. Thank you, Lane. I was
Yeah.
unaware.
I know a store that has them.
Thank you so much for supporting the channel. So getting back to Wally West retiring, I think it's absolute insanity that they do nothing with this character. Joe and I, we did a Saving Wally West. We've done a Saving the Titans. People love these characters.
Yeah.
When you talk about them, they draw an audience because people want to know about the history. They want to reminisce about the times where they read them in the comics. I understand a lot of people enjoy them from the cartoons as well, but why do they hate the Titans so much, Pele?
Oh, I have no idea. They really do. They've got a hate boner for them. It's amazing to me. It absolutely blows my mind how much they hate them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they send an office memo around, saying, "Oh, we haven't abused them in a while. We gotta bring that out next issue." I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, and I just read earlier in the week the Teen Titans Academy #1, and I'm starting to hate the Titans too.
Oh, okay.
You want to review that with me? I need to talk about that comic. I was so mad when it was over.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about that with you because it's God, this was a rough week for people with comics. I don't know how you people read comics. It was one of those weeks where after
20 a week, it drives me nuts.
after this is just one of those weeks where I'm like, how do you people do it? I don't know how you people read
around.
comics. Why
You must hate
are any of you
yourself.
here? You like this stuff? It's just it was one of those weeks, and yes, I also read some other stuff that I don't know if Doc's up to date on what came out this week from X-Men, but I also read that, and that's part of where I'm feeling this way too. So
Wait, are you talking about Cable or Excalibur came out this week? I think.
yeah, I read both.
Yeah.
You didn't like Cable?
Cable,
I saw somebody else didn't like it. I thought it was all right.
it was just one of those things. Here's the thing: I read Cable, then I read Excalibur, so it was already like I don't know. And then I'm like,
See, I've not really read a lot of Excalibur,
Yeah.
and I don't know why I'm still sticking through with the Cable,
God.
but I have.
I don't know why you're sticking with
You gotta go to the
One for
bathroom,
punishment.
no.
So Wayne
I
Kramer did want to tell people, don't read the story. He says it's awful. The end is Lois falling, falling for lava. So something like a Darth Vader origin story there. So,
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Or
I'm
did she
still
fall
reading
in-
it now.
did she fall in love with lava? Because it's like she's falling for lava.
I think she fell in lava, but he says I need to spoil the ending so no one reads it. Then why'd you bring it up, Wade?
I'm going to be honest with you. There was a chance I wasn't going to read it either way. So
made it sound cool, though. I will say.
Yeah. You should be in the marketing department.
See, that's the thing, though. You go through all this long stretch of really bad character storytelling, whatever, and then you sum it up for somebody that doesn't know anything about it, and it sounds so great because you're taking out all that stuff in between that really stinks, and maybe you can even make Wally West retiring sound good.
Yeah. So Drew, I gotta ask you. So here on the channel, whenever our Doc and I would review some of the really shitty X-Men books, we would get a lot of pushback. But ever since Ten of Swords, we get almost none of that. There's like one or two people that will come in and be like, you guys are crap. You don't know what you're talking about. For most people, I think they've kind of accepted that for the most part, the X-Men line sucks ass right now. Is that what the feeling that you're getting from the X-Men?
So I purposely don't read the X-Men lines because these are not my X-Men. I've said these are not my X-Men at all. Sean, however, reads every X-Men book. He loves them. I don't. That's him.
He's into the Logan and Scott romance,
I guess. But I'll say the one X book I do like is coming. Issue 2 comes out next week. Is the X-Men Legends. I cannot wait for that next week.
Everyone loves that one.
Yeah,
that's good too, and right Wolverine, but
I don't know. I mean, and I feel bad because I've said this before, but I know a bunch of people working on these books, and I like a lot of these people personally. And if something happened, it would really change, I think, how I feel about these books. Like some of my suggestions I was throwing around last week about, like, if everything happens at this gala, great. I'm all for jumping back in and being all on board the X train again, but something has to actually happen.
Yes, I agree. It's like if it really is just a dinner gala, that's it. It's like why? I mean, I know we're being a dead horse at this point, but why?
Yes, why?
Something has to spin out from this. If it doesn't, I think then we're going to see how people really feel about it.
You know what? Because you can't do like a red wedding because who the hell cares? Everybody gets brought back to life next issue, unless it's all of the 5 and Xavier and
what if the one dude gets divorced that got married during Ten of Swords? That would be enormous.
No, nobody would care because nobody is.
No one cares.
Just okay. Seriously, is anyone even reading New Mutants at this point? So, does anyone even know if anything was even ever brought up again about that?
I haven't seen it since, but I haven't read New Mutants, so I.
Yeah,
it feels like the panel doesn't know.
I am behind enough on New Mutants that I couldn't answer your question.
You cannot pay me to read New Mutants.
There were some all right issues in the beginning, and I actually thought the Vita first issue, it's not memorable. That's the problem. But it didn't suck. And I think a lot of the X-Men that I don't want to read, if I read it, it is just not really memorable. There's nothing so egregious that I can't stand it. And there's, other than the fact that I just don't like it. But I don't hate it, The
most egregious thing is that nothing happens.
Yeah. That's it.
Kenneth Dowling has a super chat. He makes a pretty good point. This recent conversation you guys are having is why I love 80s and late 70s comics. Much better writers, better stories, no duplicates of superheroes, no crap. This isn't my X-Men either. Joe, you're reading a lot of back issues even nowadays, right?
Yeah, I've always gone back and mostly read older stuff. I'm going through Simonson's Thor right now off on the side because you just need to go through this stuff, and then I'll dip back into the Silver Age Spider-Man, and I think I'm going to be reading the Kree Skrull War for some reason soon. But yeah, it's using that same analogy from before. We're at that like fourth Michael Keaton in Multiplicity at this point because it's so much retreading. It's so much going back to the old stories instead of crafting and creating new ones. And it is complicated. There are a lot of reasons for that. Some of them might be that the writers might not be trained in the same way or have the same love and care from editorial down to craft these stories, because a lot of these editors at Marvel were also writers. So you had a different sort of environment there. Also, when you're doing these retreads, it's a way for writers to be like, well, I'm not giving you my best ideas. I'm saving those for Image. I'm just going to get popular here, so I can take a fraction of that audience and make my money and get my movie deals and stuff over there. So I'm not going to give you my best ideas. I'm not going to give you my best storylines. I'm saving that for my stuff. So I'm just going to rehash Kraven's Last Hunt again and call it a day. So,
but as a reader, why would you read the fourth iteration of the story when you just go read the original masterpiece?
But that's just what
it's
they
out
do
of print. You can't get it.
Yeah,
I don't like old stuff. That's what some people are like. The old stuff doesn't. It looks weird.
Yeah.
How about you're saying that about Mike Zeck?
I mean, those people are idiots. Let's be honest.
The coloring's not the same.
But yeah, it's weird. I never got that. I mean, it's the same people that are like, I can't watch a movie before the 90s or something like that, which is like, you're a lunatic, if that's how you feel. But yeah, there's a lot of people like that with comics, with the sensibilities. Once they got rid of thought bubbles, comics were amazing. Like that kind of mentality. Like, oh, that's so cheesy. I can't have that kind of cheese in my comics. I'm going to read a comic where everyone's looking at their phone and talking in emojis, because that's not cheesy, and that's totally going to age amazingly in 10 years from now.
Yeah, one issue I have though is reading 60s, 70s, even Golden Age, comics in a digital format, because the way the coloring, it does jarring to me. Because it is not the same as looking at the newsprint color. It's like, oh gosh, what in the hell? It's like they get a little exuberant on their color in the digital format. But it's the same thing with putting it on Baxter paper or whatever the slick paper is and getting crazy with the color. But the other stuff, you're dead right. I don't understand a lot of their thinking.
Need to say thank you very much to Kenneth Allen. We've got a super chat from Lane Kramer. I brought this up. He's talking about the last 52 story in the multiverse. This is a 10-page story people can forget about that doesn't hurt Lois. DC keep doing this to Wally in stories that damage him. It's nice that they contain some character assassination of Lois in this last 52 of the new multiverse. But everything bad that happens to Roy Harper and Wally West and Dick Grayson and Donna Troy, it always happens in canon, right, Yul?
Oh yeah, those characters are messed up. Maybe it's their allegiance to the Trinity, or their father and mother superhero veterans. And
did you read that issue of the Walmart issue of the death of Lois?
God.
Oh my God, that was brutal. And I was like, this should be in canon, at least, for a short period of time. Oh my God, that was awesome. And they don't have the balls to do that though in the canon.
You got to keep that IP going on, man.
Yeah. Even if you kill them, they're always going to come back. We're just waiting for Alpha to return, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he will.
And they can't even keep characters dead for more than like 6 months at this point.
Alfred's consciousness was I've found the comic. Alfred's consciousness was downloaded back in like 82, 83 into that Brainiac has his consciousness stored. So
that makes sense.
So yeah, that was back during a storyline when he was trying to find out secrets about Batman, and he scanned Alfred's brain and all that kind of, but and that'll come out some point in the future, and they'll have a digital Alfred. But
yay,
it's kind of like the way
Alfred.
So yeah, they'll have Tony, an AI Alfred.
That worked.
But he'll be younger, and he'll be an agent of a checkmate or something like that.
Yeah,
don't get ideas. Don't get ideas.
A lot of this stuff too, though. There is a lot of politics behind the scenes. There's a lot of just backstabbing and pettiness.
No,
when you see this sort of stuff, happening where, you know, the continuity and all that's just all over the place. Like this isn't recent, but like with New X-Men, for example, when they did the whole thing with Magneto, and then they went back and changed it. A lot of why they changed that was because Grant Morrison quit the book, and he quit in a way where he told Quesada like an hour before a panel at San Diego Comic-Con that he signed an exclusive deal with Vertigo. Now, part of all that going down the way it did, Grant wanted Colossus to be on the team, and that's why he created the secondary mutations so Emma would have the crystal body. Joss Whedon didn't approach them saying he wanted Colossus back. Marvel asked Whedon to bring Colossus back.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that situation was just a petty, like, oh, you're gonna quit Marvel? Well, we're gonna bring back the character we said you couldn't use. Like, so that also affects when we're talking about the writing and you know, oh, things were better at this time or the other time. Like, things like that also factor into it.
Because nobody was really clamoring for like Hal Jordan or Barry Allen to come back.
No.
You know, not everybody loved Kyle Rayner, but it got to the point in time where we accepted it, you know,
Yeah.
and Wally West being Flash. That's why so many people are outraged with how they treat Wally West right now.
Yeah.
We've
It's
had
like
entire generations grab with
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
it's like Guy Gardner. You know, it's like
Mhm.
some creators you could tell they just absolutely hate the man, and then others, you know, just love him to death. And he's a very polarizing character. So
No hero I like to see punched in the face more than Guy Gardner, that's for certain. So I do need to say thank you very much to Retro Man for supporting the channel. I read X-Men. Did they forget Captain Britain can literally be anyone, not just alternate Betsy or Brian? Also, Hickman would do great on DC 1 mil.
No, Tinny Howard, that is as far as her imagination goes.
Well,
it
or
has to
maybe
be Braddock,
knowledge.
right?
it has to be Braddock.
That's as far as her imagination goes. She can't fathom it being someone else, and she likes just making alternate versions of. There's no creativity required to just make a dinosaur Betsy and a, you know, trans Brian or whatever. There's no creativity required there. There is required.
It's like, is this a story that's being fit into Excalibur, or is this a real Excalibur story? And, you know, maybe that's really what the problem is. A lot of these X-Men books feel like it should have been Legion of Superheroes or whatever, you know? And
Look,
it starts from the top. And then you get
Yeah.
Teeny coming and doing Excalibur. You get Duggan doing all his stuff. And it's like this.
Do we
It's
see
X-Men's
this stuff?
mishmash, man.
Do we see this stuff in Marvel because there isn't an event like there is at DC with Legion? You know, Legion, they have that. You know, it's like we can go completely just roughshod progressive. Just, you know, everybody can be anything. You can do anything you want there, and all that kind of stuff. But Marvel doesn't really have that outlet, you know, for specific creators to kind of go wild. So they drag that into the current continuity.
Well, you'll kind of hit it there, though. I mean, X-Men, current X-Men on Krakoa is just this was Hickman doing his Decorum book using X-Men characters. This is Tinny Howard writing her Portal fiction fantasy stuff using X characters. This is Jerry Duggan writing his terrible Family Ties fanfic using X characters.
Did he do Family Ties?
No, but he really just wants to. He's, you know, these are all the only one there in the only two people in that office that are legitimate actual comic creators that just want to do X-Men comics are Zeb Wells and Ben Percy. That's it. Yeah. Everyone else is just shoving whatever bad creator-owned idea they had into X books
or themselves.
part of it too, like we were all talking about, is there's no stakes. It's hard to have stakes when, like you were saying before, Doc, it's like you can't have a red wedding because everyone just comes back and it doesn't matter. So introducing the threat of malice, who the hell cares? Yeah. It's like, oh, malice is loose on an island of millions of superpowered people. Oh, okay. Like, all right, cool. That's not a problem, guys. We're gonna be fine. Like, that's,
she's gonna hurt some feelings. That's what's worse than death. Hurt feelings.
Yeah, but malice was more threatening when it was across the world, and malice could be anyone, anywhere, and that's more of a threat. Here, it's a joke. Yes. And it's sad that they don't see how much of a big joke it is.
You know who they need to dump on Krakoa? If they could find some way to do it, it'd be Typhoid Mary. But they won't do that. So
no, I think she's in. She just retired, but we need to get back on topic because we are well over schedule here. And thank you very much to Retro Man for supporting the channel. We really appreciate that. That was very generous. So we talked about Wally West retiring. Let's talk about these DC $6 comics. Now, initially, they solicited Batman. I believe it was 108 or 109 is $6. I think it's Joker 3 and 4 were also $6. Now, I thought that could be a mistake. Sometimes DC does make mistakes in the solicitations, and the things just don't match. But I did check with two sources, and they're like, no, that's what they're planning on doing. I think the backlash has caused DC to at least step back on the Batman comics. They've been returned back to $5, but the Joker series are at $6 still. Drew, do you think this is DC Comics' intent to move these higher selling titles up to $6? In time, it looks like they try to take the first step already.
Yeah, it is. And Future State was the first step with that, showing you can get two stories in one, or some cases 3 stories in one. So I really think as long as the quality stays up, if the quality can stay up, $6, I wouldn't mind if the quality is there, paying for 2 stories in one comic. But if the quality starts dipping, I mean, sales are going to go down. Fans aren't dumb. Fans know. If the quality goes down, teams change, they're not happy, sales will go down. You got to keep the quality there.
Yep. So we need to interject with this super chat from Michael Johnson Curry. I'm going to send this one over to Joe since you're a creator. Curious thoughts on the idea that Marvel is trying to kill the idea of the superstar artist to stop another image. Why are the artists being moved around so much? And a lot of times, if you become a good artist at Marvel, you just become a cover artist.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's just the demands of doing a full issue on that schedule. Those have always been tough. Even when you look at a lot of comics from decades ago, as much as I do enjoy them, you don't always see the same level of detail that I think sort of that like 90s revolution with Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and all that brought about. So you have certain demands on these things that make it difficult to get monthly comics out. So you're already dealing with fill-in artists, which is something we've been dealing with this whole time. But yes, it's a lot of pushing things around. Other editors within Marvel and other places trying to scoop up different artists. We saw that with Victor Bogdanovich. He was just doing small things at DC. They scooped him up for Wolverine. DC scooped him back up. So some of
they lost Capullo a bit.
Yeah, like that's.
I think they're trying to avoid another Capullo because
Yeah, but it's easy to. I think some of it was to stop another image. Some of it is artists just looking out for themselves and being. They will jump ship to make more money on something because the other companies aren't necessarily, watching out for them. If you're doing a book at Marvel as an artist and you don't own that property, and then Mark Miller hits you up and says, "Hey, I'm doing another 6-issue series that's going to be a Netflix show. You're going to be a co-creator. You want in?" You are dropping that book because Marvel isn't going to come back with an offer that is going to be anywhere close to what you'd get on that. So that's also a problem.
Yeah, it's crazy. We got 12 issues of Green Lantern from Liam Sharp with his art style.
Yeah.
Did they change books sometimes on those premier artists because the premier artists just get tired of that particular, they don't want to do too many of that character in a row and
What
get in a rut.
happened to the days of holding on to Batman or Spider-Man like
because it paid you the best page
Bagley
rate,
would
you got
not
the
leave that
best
book
residuals.
until he got another Spider-Man book.
Yeah, it paid the best page rates. It gave you the best residuals. You could also really grow your personal brand, and you become that creator that everyone would follow you.
Yeah.
Wherever you went next. Especially, I don't get that. But look, the Marvel's been trying to kill the idea of a superstar artist for 25 years now.
But they still do things like, we're going to unveil our Young Guns.
Yeah,
Second round of Young Gun artists,
and
not young people.
They're like Thunder Breakers or
Stormbreakers
whatever.
now.
Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Stormbreakers, yeah.
But that's because they need to promote them to
Just enough.
replace
Just a skosh.
just enough so that people don't realize Ryan Stegman isn't doing monthly books anymore.
Right.
And what's his name that was on Steve McNiven isn't doing monthly books anymore.
Ed McGuinness, yeah.
Ed McGuinness. They're the replacement for those guys. And then once those guys take over doing the Avengers and X-Men primary book or Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, they'll have a new set of Stormbreakers that's the replacement for them.
Mm-hmm.
All that is them. It's the Intercontinental Championship of comic book artists, and then promoting it.
I mean, if I had, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was also going to say there are also issues with just people not gelling. I mean, Hickman has been notorious for being difficult to get a hold of. Same thing with Bendis in recent years. So it might be hard to have an artist want to stay on with Hickman on a book like X-Men if he's hard to get a hold of, if he's giving you script changes and updates last minute. He's been known to do things like that. He's been known to do things like come up with a new lettering pass shortly before it goes to press, things like that. So that's also part of where you get artists who are just like, I'm after I do these few issues I signed up for, I'm out. So
how many different artists do you have on Avengers? All this Avengers comics, how many different artists did you have? I mean, everyone from Steve Epting to Max Morales he had.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I had my druthers, I'd just take Mark Bagley and chain him to a desk and have him do ASM until he's gone. Yeah, just IV him coffee into his veins, and say, you're going to do Amazing Spider-Man until,
He can do 16 issues, 18 issues a year. The guy's a monster. He's just a speed demon. So that would suit me just fine. Just put him there, put Stegman on Venom, and just have those guys do that for the rest of their lives.
So thank you very much to Michael Johnson Curry for the super chat. We have another one. This one's more on topic. Kenneth Dowling getting us back on track. Batman is my number one superhero. I'm not paying $6 for a single book. Sorry.
He's right. He's right. Look, what are our problems? I mean, we've discussed this ad nauseum on this channel and in other videos. What are the problems with comics? They're not in enough places, and they're too fucking expensive, and they're not worth the money. They're a bad value proposition compared to the other forms of video or entertainment that are out there. And $6. Look, comics have been in the same death spiral for 20 years now, 30 years, which is you raise prices, you lose creators, or you lose readers, sales drop, they raise prices again, you lose readers, sales drop. It's a violent goddamn cycle that isn't going to end, and they can't figure out the way is to actually gain readers. And nobody, I have yet to see any person on the planet decide, you know, they rose prices on a comic book. That means I'm going to try it now.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You've never
I had
gained
one
a
viewer
single-
said that they would, and this was the thinking, Doc. The print run will be less on this Batman comic. Less people will buy it, so I'm going to buy more copies of it because, in theory, it'll be worth more in the end.
I'm not talking about current readers. I'm not talking about speculators. I'm talking about non-readers. Non-readers don't decide, hey, the price of this thing went up. I'm definitely going to start buying it now.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy before.
Yeah, DC is seeing the back issue market explode and seeing people paying ungodly prices for back issue comics, and they think that they can get in on a little bit more from the new market. And they've seen, I mean, it's been insane for 12 months now. The back issue market has not slowed down. It is picking up steam, if anything, and they're wanting to get in. They're wanting to get their hands into that, and they think that modern new comics, should be worth more, and they're not. I'm sorry,
It's likely
because
the
the
reason
quality
the
isn't
back
there.
issue market is so hot is because of the modern new comics.
Oh yeah, the $5 back issue is probably got a better story.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
It's
Might
got
be
a complete story. It's got a complete story instead of being one part of 6 or 12.
Yep.
So we do have another. I want to say thank you to Kenneth so much for supporting the channel.
Yes.
Joe M says comic book shop people can be mean. That's what kept me away from comics as a kid and almost kept me away as an adult. Doc, you're a mean guy. Should you be nicer to the new people?
I'm never nice to new people, but I can be polite to them. I mean, I'm kind of a dick to everybody, but for the most part, like, but it's kind of that like dry, harmless being a dick. Like, if you shut up and listen, I'll teach you something. And
so
probably,
you need to go to Yule's store because he's a teddy bear.
There you go.
I am. As an owner, I am. As an employee, I used to be one of those aloof assholes that if you came in and said something stupid like, do they still make Superman comics?
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, until the end of time, until the end of paper. How's that?
Yeah.
Look, I spent my teens and my 20s working in like, I literally worked in a record shop for like all of high school and college. So I can sell goddamn ice to an Eskimo, and I know how to be. But it's just a matter of, look, these people are coming in to sell to buy things. Find them things that they like.
Yeah, I used to work at a Hollywood Video in high school and college, and I would bring my own stuff in to watch, and people would come up and be like, "Oh, can I rent this?" I'm like, "Oh, we don't have that."
You can't get stuff like this in this store.
Yeah, no, we don't have that. And they would like blow a gasket. They would just be like, "What do you mean? It's on the TV?" I'm like, "That's mine."
It's like that movie High Fidelity with John Cusack,
Yes, exactly.
where the guy comes in, oh, can I finally buy this? Oh, let's see, what's the price on this? It's like $200. Oh, I can have it for $200. No, not today. No, we're not selling this today. He explodes and blows up and everything. And I've seen comic shop employees like that. And I make a point that they never work in my shop. I have to have people persons at my shop, and I've got one guy, my adopted son, he's a dick, but he's autistic, so he's just, that's just him, that's the way he is, but everybody else is like smiles, rainbows, be happy to the people because they're going to spend money if they're happy with you. So
I think a lot of it is the perception of the comic store from somebody that hasn't been there.
All that
Not
Simpsons
necessarily when
family.
you're a younger kid.
Doesn't help. Yeah.
Comic book guy from The Simpsons. They think
Well,
they're
yeah,
all
exactly. So, just like, I'm not going to like it going to this theme park. They don't have anything I like. And so you go there and you don't have a good time. A lot of times that might be the case for entering the comic store. It's just going to be dark and dingy and nobody's going to want to like have a conversation with me. And so you don't go in and have a conversation with the person that's stuck there all day, not talking to anybody because no one else has come in, or whatever, maybe,
So Yule, I've got some good news for you. My buddy Skip and Kosh is going to your store today. He meant Yule, not sell.
Oh, excellent. I can't wait. Make sure you let me know. Oh, I guess the picture will give it away.
That is a digital image,
come on
but he looks like Damon Wayans.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
All right.
No one does the robot anymore.
But seriously though, if you're scared of going into a comic shop, I mean, first of all, sack up, dude. It's a comic shop. It's no different than going into a record store or anything else.
It's like getting bled into a street gang. You'll be fine.
Less painless than the dentist.
Yes, seriously, just go in. It's fine. And you know what? Maybe the guy, if he makes you feel embarrassed, it's not because he wants to embarrass you. It's because he's trying to find out like what you like, so he knows what to tell you to buy. Like he's trying to help.
Or it could be a jerk.
Yeah.
Well, he could be a jerk, but,
We do have a super chat from Kenneth Dowling. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. You asked me a follow-up question on my last chat, and I want to modify my answer. If it's a back issue, is written by Denny O'Neil, drawn by Neil Adams, and knocks my socks off, I might consider it.
Yeah, I'm on a Perch video. I got a little bit of a blowback because, not really, it was just some comments saying, talking about backup stories, and there are some really classic backup stories. Walt Simonson and Archie Goodwin did Manhunter. The Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil, Green Lantern was a backup stories by the end. Keith Giffen did Dr. Fate in the back of Flash stories. This is a common thing for DC to do this. I kind of like it because it really makes me think about those days, but the price wasn't as high.
It's the price.
In comparison. But I love those dollar books. Dollar World's Finest was my favorite comic book, and that was a lot of money back then compared to like 35 cents.
Sure.
But boy,
So,
it was girthy.
$6 compared to $5, I guess that really isn't that much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're putting things in perspective. So thank you very much, Kenneth, for following up on a Perch video. I appreciate that. Supporting both channels.
Yeah.
And
But
we've also...
No, I was just going to say I enjoy those anthologies too. There were some good Detective Comics issues that had Robin backups and like the
and
70s
Batgirl.
and 80s.
That's where I read all my
Batgirl.
Batgirl.
Yeah.
It was great.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Absolutely.
Yes,
We've also got Dark Admiral March here. He's been here since the beginning.
Yo,
On the
boy.
back issue topic, I picked up a near mint copy of Fear number 20. Maybe not an in-demand book, but I'm thrilled to get a fantastic copy of a hard-to-find book. What do you say to that, Drew? Is that a hard-to-find book?
It is.
Is that a big pickup?
I'm trying to. I'm drawing a blank on which one that is right now.
First
All right,
Morbius.
Pele.
It's the first Morbius in that series. It's a hard to find book.
I haven't seen that. I have not seen that one. Yeah,
it's that run. They really underprinted that. It's from like 20 to 30, issue 20 to 31, and they really underprinted that run in that series. And it's hot as hell right now. The number 24, issue number 24 is the one first Morbius versus Blade fight, and it's like going for like near mint's like $500 now. It's
actually
like,
there was a store here in Indy that actually had like all these issues in their they bought out some guy's collection. They had all these Adventures into Fear in them. So I might have to go back and see if they have them now.
And they're great. It was a really great run. And but yeah, they've like tripled in value in like 4 months.
Wow.
It's insane.
So thank you very much to Dark Admiral Mark.
Good
Sounds
job.
like you got a great pickup. Please keep us informed. I love hearing about these updates.
Yeah.
And so back on the $6 comic front, you'll ultimately what's the fallout of this going to be? You think people will piss and moan about it, but eventually they'll sack up and give their $6?
I
for their
think
Batman
if they
comic?
like it, they will. If they are like if that Dan Mora is doing the art on a $6 book, buy it. It's going to look great. That guy's
Jorge
amazing.
Jimenez, obviously on Batman, is amazing as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just as long as that guy's doing the art, he's the DC has some really good people working on their books. Batman, Superman came out this week. Ivan Reyes is working on that. We were talking about Gene Yang doing Superman last week. It was good. Good book.
Yes, it was really good. Yeah.
So DC can There's going to be less books right now, other than the multitude of different Batman style books out there. Or Wonder Woman, red, white, and blue, or whatever the hell they're going to call it.
Black, white, and gold.
Black, white, and gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the bracers.
That makes sense.
Keep from molesting Superman. That would be great.
You know, I guess it's the Lasso's gold too. It's a lot of gold. It makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. But these are the types of books, and those are already $5. So we're pretty much getting used to it. Marvel's been pushing the boundaries for years.
May of 2018 was when they announced Batman would be going from $3 to $4. So a jump to $6 would be 100% inflation in 3 years.
But if you were reading Scott Snyder's New 52 Batman, they were jumping the price every other issue, it felt like. It was a $3.99 book, and then they had like a 25th issue, and then it was like $6 then, I think. So
it's a milestone.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure, it's a milestone.
We brought out
this
point started. In Twitter. We were talking about that it was a 12-cent issue in 1969, Batman, and it jumped to 25 cents in 4 years.
Yeah.
So that was an increase. I mean, we're talking about pennies there, but at the time that was big enough to make a lot of people dump the title. So, that was a doubling. So
it's still the same problem. You raise the price, you lose readers. And lose readers, you lose sales. You lose sales, you have to
but I only have to sell one.
Yes,
to make up more money.
Yes, when it's $100,000 for this, the inevitable outcome of this is 4 copies sold at $100,000 a piece.
I'll be really interested to see what the trades cost coming out.
And that's the other problem. The trades, every time you lose readers, the collected editions end up inevitably going up in price too, because now you're offsetting more of the cost. Now you're no longer offsetting the cost of the creative team with single sales. Now you're trying to make that up, and you still have to pay residuals.
Yeah, but if you're in the book market, you can only charge so much for that stuff, I think.
Okay, and then they just don't sell it.
Well, then that might be, you might not get that collection. You might not get that backup story in collected form, except on digital.
Yep, I wait for
there is a reason why
anthology sale, 65% off. Then I start buying.
That might be the reason why you want to buy that comic then. And if it's $6 and comics were $3.99 and it's 2 full stories, it's a cheaper book. If you look at it that way, also.
Assuming you give a fuck about that backup story.
Well, again, that's one of those things. The backup story has to be of equal quality.
It's gotta be Joshua Williamson on Robin or something like that.
Sure.
And it's the reason why anthologies don't sell.
Well, it's Batman. It's not an anthology.
Yeah, but you're turning Batman into an anthology. You're basically turning it into Marvel Comics Presents. Whenever
I would
it was
call
a Wolverine,
it Batman and Friends, if anything.
But it's essentially turning it into the way that Marvel Comics Presents was whenever it was the Wolverine, the second Wolverine title.
But Marvel Comics Presents did pretty well, especially when we knew it was Wolverine.
When Weapon X, when it was Weapon X, when it went to Weapon X, it was outstanding.
But before and after that, it wasn't. Whenever it was still the Wolverine book, but it was just some random. But look, they don't. I mean, that was the only anthology that really kept selling, because 2-in-1 was dead by then. Spider-Man Marvel Team Up was dead by then. Anthologies really don't sell anymore.
They hardly ever really do.
No, that's for the 80th anniversary specials.
Yeah. I mean, they can do as one shots. But a monthly, you're essentially turning the Batman comic into a monthly anthology series, charging a lot more for it when people don't necessarily want that second story. So all the people that
Urban Legends is Batman Urban Legends, that's pretty much an anthology series. So see where that goes. Hopefully they'll stay up for it.
But it's the reason why Dark Knight, the old Dark Knight series, the what was it, Legends of the Dark Knight?
That's
Never
coming
really.
That was
Never
terrific.
really
I love
sold.
that series. Love it.
But it never
It's
sold.
coming back.
Yeah.
But as long as it's Batman, it's the important thing.
All right, so we do need to get into this last topic. I'm sorry, guys. We ran long on a couple of
It's all
these
right.
issues.
Do it.
But let's talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We got episode 2 this week. We finally got to know John Walker. And I'll be honest, Joe, I kind of like the way that they're presenting John Walker. He comes off as affable, kind of a nice guy. But then the little cracks start to show that he's there's a dick underneath there that you're just going to want to see Bucky and Sam Wilson punch, at one point.
Oh yeah, no, I like how they've been doing John Walker and Battlestar. I think they're interesting characters. It's been fun watching as I've been sitting back and knew they were mostly going to be mining the Grunwald run, and people being like, no, they're going to take from this and this, and it's like this is like 60 or so percent just the Grunwald run. They even introduced the Power Broker on top of the Flag Smashers, just all this stuff where it's like they're just mining from this, and there are a lot more problems with this show, I think, that are starting to pop up. Like they don't know what the hell they're doing with the dynamic of Bucky and Falcon. Like they don't, their whole like buddy cop kind of thing they got going on is all over the place. Like some scenes Bucky's like, we got to sneak in and do this, and we got to strategize, and then other scenes Bucky's like just running in and like just making it clear that he's like going for the attack. It's like, no, one of you guys have to be like the strategist, and the other guy has to like not play by the rules. That's how these. Yeah, it's like, and you certainly don't switch it up within the same episode. That's not that. It's all over the place as far as that goes.
There was
funky.
There was a couple of times where I was just, I just don't believe the story.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the bank to get a loan.
Well,
I still hate that. Yeah.
That's still ridiculous. But I do not buy John Walker being only a just really good soldier that's very good and very in shape, being able to use that shield. Period.
I don't either. I think he lied. I think he's superpowered.
Yeah, I think he lied.
Yes.
I think he's got the serum in his system.
Yeah.
The same one that the Flag Smashers have.
And maybe you're right, but I don't buy it right now. The scene on the with the tractor trailers, why in the blue hell did Bucky not take out the back truck when he opened up the door? Like, hey, by the way, the bad guys can just see you. Literally, you're 20 feet away from them. They're in the driver's seat. They can see you. They can just shoot you right now.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what you're saying real quick too, I knew the second they showed someone in the back of the truck and they're like, they have a hostage. I'm like, that's not a hostage. It's someone that's going to punch them. And I just had to sit there like an idiot for like 2 minutes, just being like, all right, come on, let's figure out it's not a hostage.
Give me the nuts.
Let's get there.
I mean,
cool, we're there. Great.
And I mean, hey, it's cool that they're doing Sin. And that she's actually a ginger. But no, like, I mean, he's standing there with the door open right behind himself and just waiting to get shot.
All right, Doc, simmer down. We got to say thank you very much to Joe M. He's saying the daily videos from this channel, along with Purchase Rants, got me through the pandemic. Just want to say thanks before I leave, and thank you very much for supporting the channel. And I want to say this: I know you like Marauders. I'm not the biggest fan, and Doc might rant on it a little bit. But if you like Marauders, keep reading Marauders and enjoy it. Don't let us take away from your joy. I'm glad that you're enjoying the stories, and I hope other people are enjoying Marauders as well.
Is that what the M stands for? Joe Marauders?
Joe Marauders. That's what it is. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a good weekend. All right, Doc, back to where you were.
Well, to Joe, I know you love Marauders. It's okay to be wrong. But look, this show, it's okay. But there's a lot of it that I don't believe at this point. I'm not able to buy in. They're not keeping their, there's a suspension of disbelief, but they're not able to keep up their own internal consistency.
Yeah.
So we do have Kenneth Dowling's take. He's saying, I really enjoyed it. I liked it more than the episode 1 in terms of opening the deeper Marvel universe. I agree with Joe and Doc. The dynamic could use some work. Also, the trauma with the soldiers.
Yeah.
And one other thing I will say, before I let everybody else talk, because I watched the first 3 episodes of Invincible last night, and I watched this. And I will say that Invincible, I know it's animated, so they don't have, they can basically do whatever the hell they want budget-wise. Internal consistency, storytelling, much, much better on Invincible, period.
Sure.
That 3rd episode of Invincible, it lost me there. There was a lot of cringe in that 3rd episode.
It was a little, but
I was just like, I'm out. This is not the Invincible comic.
You dropped your remote on the floor and you told your wife, I'm out of here.
I just pulled a George Costanza. I quit. I'm gone.
Wow. I still have to watch the 3rd one. I only watched the first 2 episodes, so that's interesting.
You bring in elements that were not brought up before. Everything from Ta-Nehisi Coates to 4th wave feminism to our founders being evil colonialists. It's like, I'm out. I'm done.
Oh no.
Oh, well, they're in high school though, right? I mean, that's why
I let it slide, because it was, hey, she likes this. You should pretend like you do, just so you can get in her pants. That's where I was like, yeah, I can
trying
buy
to give
that.
everybody a blueprint or something. What are you doing?
Well, it's people have been doing that for years.
It's
think
the cheat codes for.
Oh, I like that group. Oh yeah.
How many of you told some girl, oh yes, I definitely read Toni Morrison? Sure.
I've never said that.
Or whatever the hell thing
I'm more of a Maya Angelou guy.
Or like, yeah, I definitely like Tori Amos. Yeah.
But I just don't know why.
Fair all the way.
I don't know why
Jagged
Invincible
Little
likes
Pill.
her, because she has an RBF face pretty much through the first 3 episodes. I'm like, why do you like this girl? I mean, she's perennially upset, angry, and nasty. I don't see why you'd be attracted to that. I mean, it's crazy.
You know, I remember when John Byrne did Superman, Man of Steel, all that stuff. I think it was the first issue. I was reading a comics journal, I think, a review of it. And, of course, they hated it. And they were talking about Lois Lane being this real bitch. And they're like, why would Clark, care about this lady? She's horrible, you know?
Like hard to get.
That. Yeah, exactly. It's so not Kansas that he loves it.
But with Falcon and Winter Soldier though, episode 2. I'm with that. With the I think the dynamic could have used some work. I did really like how they were doing John Walker and all those scenes. I like the Isaiah scene. I wish after that scene there was more of a break between the cops getting with Falcon and Winter Soldier, because it's like that was a good, powerful scene with Isaiah, and then I feel like it undercut it to go right back into that another heavy topic. Immediately after that, it's like, let that breathe. Let's cut to John Walker doing something or do something else, and then do that scene to kind of separate it a bit. That I think that would have been good, but also to rant just a little more on how awful Marvel is with collected editions. This was the time of any time, to have a trade paperback of the Truth. That should have been on. They should have printed that. It should have been on Amazon for like $10. This was your time to move copies of that book, and it's not in print. And again, it's like, when are you going to get another time? Unless you maybe they'll do some stuff with Young Avengers with the,
that's what I was thinking.
The grandson character, with the Patriot character. But now
that's when you sell Young Avengers.
Yes. So it's like it just boggles my mind. It's like this was your time to move that, and I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say Kyle Baker probably would have liked getting a few bucks off of royalties from one of the only times right now that trade could have potentially moved thousands of copies. Like, what are you guys doing?
I don't know. Do they have a problem? I mean, probably the subject matter a little bit, and also maybe Kyle Baker. I don't know. Maybe Marvel just really hates giving royalties to people.
Yeah, but Kyle Baker's been around for a long time. He's done a lot in and around the industry. It's
one of my faves, man.
Yeah,
the only person that could follow Sienkiewicz.
There's some important stuff going on here. Drew, what's the latest word on the pigeon?
Oh, the pigeon is back. He's right up here on top of one of our store.
You should have made a banner, Wes.
We need a pigeon update banner. What was I thinking? Oh,
we need to get a graphic designer to have a pigeon watch, like
right down in the corner.
Breaking news.
Get a cooing sound effect, the whole 9 yards.
The pigeon is still in the house. It is still a menace to society. God. Now let's wrap up this Falcon Winter Soldier. Did anyone else have something to say about the episode, whether they enjoyed it, didn't enjoy it, before we give recommendations and wrap this bad boy up?
I would love just a U.S. agent show. It's like there's a lot going on in the show. There's a lot going on. It's just like I would like it if it was more focused. There's a lot of characters, a lot of plot points. I would love to just see Kurt Russell's kid playing U.S. agent, just a show focused on him, maybe him facing Zemo or someone else.
You saw Kurt Russell's kid. I saw the stoner from 22 Jump Street.
Yeah, he was great in that. Yeah, he was great in that with Channing Tatum. Yeah.
Pele, did you have any last words about Falcon Winter Soldier before we start wrapping this bad boy up?
I didn't think it was bad at all. And it was fine. I didn't really go into it with really high expectations because my expectations were like low. So I was entertained, and a lot of people were throwing shade at it as far as at the shop, and I'm like, I thought it was fine. I just wanted to watch some action, and I didn't really think about it too much, and it was fine. So
I thought the CGI took a little bit of a step down when they were doing the truck scene. And the story was a little more clunky than issue 1, but it's entertaining. It feels like it's the MCU. Yeah. I'm enjoying it. So
I didn't really go into it. My expectations, and part of that was because my expectations were so high for WandaVision, and then I got just pummeled over that, and I was like, okay. Well, I'm gonna draw back my expectations all the way, and for this, and I was pleasantly,
So you downgrading your Moon Knight expectations?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull those back too. But I am gonna have higher expectations for that because I love Moon Knight. So
I was about to say it's one of your favorite characters.
It's one of my favorites. So I've got to go into it with a little more optimism. So.
All right, well, let's get into the comic book recommendations. We've gone well over the time that we expected. Drew, what are you guys down at the Comics Elite?
I got a couple
number one.
Okay, pigeon update.
Last night we sold the first Punisher last night. We sold we sold so many crazy things last night. It was crazy. But I'm going to recommend First Man by Andy Smith. Just got this in the mail last night.
Oh, nice.
Art Spears variant. And Monster MD by Von Kloss. Awesome read. Came with some pinups, some cool tchotchkes. Get those an Indiegogo. They're fantastic. And we have got Marat Michaels in our store next week. He's going to be here like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. So if you guys want to get some signed Marat Michaels stuff, check out our live sales on Facebook. ComicsEliteComics.com.
Sweet.
In the video description, you will find a link to their website and their Facebook page. So we got you covered.
Cool.
And that will be the comic recommendations from Drew at Comics Elite. Pele, what are you guys recommending down at the store this week?
Right now, it's the Carnage Black, White, and Blood. I think it is number 1. It looks fantastic, and some of the variants blew my socks off. And the store, it was good. I enjoyed it. And my personal recommendation, though, Usagi Yojimbo came out this week, and you need to buy it because it's always good. I love Usagi Yojimbo.
So we've got Jimmy from Comics Works saying Falcon Winter Soldier was great and Invincible was so good, Doc. PFF. Get out of here, Doc, moron. Thank you very much for putting him in his place, Jimmy, and thank you for supporting the channel. We've also got Kenneth with the $20 super chat. It's very, very generous.
Very
I was in a bad funk over my job, then watching this channel got me out of it. Thank you, Wes, in the great panel. Great critique by Joe on Falcon Winter Soldier. When you catch that pigeon, stir fry it in rice. I want to see how it tastes. Peace, guys. Well, thank you so much. We love having you here every weekend. I think we do have a nice time, and I'm glad we got you out of your funk. And we shall see. Is sweet and sour pigeon in the future, Drew?
Oh, I would say teriyaki. Probably teriyaki.
Squab.
Teriyaki pigeon.
Nice.
They call it squab, I think. when
COVID
it's
21.
Is it squab if you put it on a plate?
it's squab
It's not
if
a
you're
bat.
snooty. If you're one of the snooty elites and you eat pigeon, it's called squab. So,
Elite's in the name, so you might have to call it squab, sir. So thank you very much, Kenneth. Really appreciate that. Pele, you did your recommendations fully, right? I didn't.
yeah. Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, and Usagi Yojimbo.
Badass.
Yes.
Yule, what do you recommend?
Alien wasn't bad. I don't really love LaRocca's artwork.
Hated it.
You hated it?
I'm
I'm just
it.
saying, as far as a store owner selling books, it did really well.
My
We have
recommendation
first
review
with
is
Brian
pretty
Brown
good
for it.
on
Our
it.
Twitter cover's good. But
What I'm really looking forward to is Beta Ray Bill next week, though.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's my big one.
That's-
Yep.
That one's getting
Yeah.
reviewed right here on the channel.
But you know, someone said Stray Dogs in chat. That was really good. Also,
Yes, it was.
and you know what? Ha Ha number 3 I liked a lot. Also,
Yeah.
it's
There
not a
you
lot
go.
of reading, but excellent artwork, and boy,
It's a
those
weird book.
endings are pretty strong. I like Ha Ha.
I love it. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Doc, what do you recommend?
I am recommending that you go and pick up back issues or the Invincible Ultimate Collections,
Mhm.
all 12 volumes. It is
Get the compendiums. Get
Yeah,
the
they have a
three
big
compendiums.
yeah,
fat
you
one.
could get you could get the compendiums instead, which are basically like absolute edition sized. And because Invincible is the best superhero comic of the 21st century, period. I would be hard pressed to find, as much as I love the Authority
And Wildcats
and Wildcats version 3.0,
and Atomic Kafka, whatever. it was
Automatic
called.
Kafka.
Automatic Kafka.
I didn't. Automatic
I love that
Kafka. It was good, but it was kind of one of the. It was the B list. That was.
I heard
Jimmy
you like
Pop-
One More Day, is what I heard. That's your favorite superhero story of all, right?
I'm going to find you and set you on fire.
Speaking of Invincible, number 1 has been reprinted for a new release
Yes.
This week, so go buy that.
It's not the regular It's not number 1 though. It's like this weird
Yeah.
kind of mishmash.
Yeah.
They took a couple of pages from. It's more like a clip show version of the first couple issues.
Yeah.
It's because each episode doesn't really correspond to one particular issue. They're about 2 issues per episode. maybe
No, I was talking
3.
about the number 1, just the issue
Yeah,
number 1.
I
got
know,
reprinted.
and it basically covers everything of.
Right.
You know, it's not every single page. They kind of remixed it for
The
this
show.
release.
Yeah.
No, for this release, because it's not
okay.
if you pull out Invincible number 1 from like 2000 or whenever the hell it came out,
It's not the
and
same comic.
it's not the same interiors. It's partly the same interiors, but it's also got parts from issues 2 and 3, I think.
All right, Doc, we do have to wrap this up.
But no, seriously, go read Invincible.
I sold it, but I didn't read it. I just looked at it. And it was like,
It's such a great series. And then save your money on Excalibur and Cable. Don't buy them. They're terrible.
Thank you very much. All right, Joe, you recommended anything this week?
Sure. Honestly, haha number 3. Thank you for reminding me I read a good comic this week. That
You
was
sort
fun.
of read it.
Yeah. It wasn't that much reading, but I looked at it. It was very nice. But not too much from this week. Next week, I think I mentioned my buddy Pat Shand, Destiny New York number 1 over at Black Mask. It's all on Comixology already from his Space Between entertainment. He does a lot of Kickstarters every year. He's an unsung hero in that realm in terms of he's got over a dozen like fully funded and shipped and fulfilled crowdfunding campaigns they did through Kickstarter. And he puts all his stuff on Comixology too. So check out what he's doing. He created the Robin Hood character at Zenoscope and wrote a ton of the Grim Fairy Tales and stuff like that over there. He's a really cool guy. Check out what he's doing there. Autumnal, I think, is wrapping up from Vault Comics next week. Christian is a good guy. He's the artist on that. I'd recommend checking that out. And definitely back issue stuff. Go back, read Grunwald's Cap from like issue 312 to 350. And that'll get you the Flag Smasher stuff, the Power Broker stuff, the introduction of Super Patriot John Walker. All that stuff is in those issues. So definitely check that out if you're enjoying, or even if you're lukewarm on Falcon Winter Soldier. Check it out.
Thank you very much. So I'm aware that I like Alien more than I probably should. I am a sucker for Alien comics, so I do have a review coming up. It's after the show. But unfortunately, I had all these connectivity issues. I've recorded this review twice, and it's still not ready. I have to do it again because I keep having issues while I'm doing the recording. So hopefully it works this time. Be looking out for a review of Teen Titans Academy with Joe and myself, because I absolutely hated that book, and it's nice to know that he hates it as well, so we can talk about what a piece of trash that was. But if you're looking for good comics, I would recommend Alien #1, also Maestro War and Pax. And if you're looking for something a little Time Vault, the Kree Skrull War and Avengers 89 through 97, we may or may not be doing a little panel on that storyline within the next week with Breen and perhaps Joe as well.
Yeah, that could happen. That would be fun. Breen's fun.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
We're going to be talking about some old comics. Thank you all so much for joining us. We did stay a little late, but I think everybody enjoyed it. This is a good time, and we will see you next week. Hopefully, we will have an update on the Pigeon and what's happening over there at Comics League.
Yeah,
I know. I'll be looking for it.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
A little rosemary, a little thyme, some garlic.